FIU has been in great hands since I took over. We recently got an invite to the ACC. We've won 9 games or more every year, and we have filled our trophy room with a good amount of hardware. But the real challenge we've been facing is making that jump up to being a championship contender. We might have found our solution though. Last season, star quarterback Alexander Bean lost his job. Unfortunately, he was just too inaccurate to handle playing in the ACC. Darren Moody, our first 5-star signing ever, replaced him, and let's just say that he put in a lot of work during the offseason. With some of his accuracies being as high as 95, I won't have an excuse for throwing interceptions anymore. Now, we are set to face a pretty difficult schedule, with FAU being the only team that's not a part of the Power 4 on it, which normally would be concerning, but Miami transfer Austin Jennings decided he wanted to play for the better team in Miami, FIU, and after we took down the Hurricanes last season, he came over to join our program. This is also the best receiving corps we have ever had, as Nick Machado won the John Mackey Award. This transfer tight end's going to be a backup behind him, despite being a higher overall. And then Jordan Yeboah transferred in to be our #1 receiver ahead of Justin Devon and Tristan Glass. He might only have 89 speed, but the kid is 6'5", and he is also going to be able to route up almost any cornerback in the country. I will say our offensive line and our linebacking room isn't where I want it to be, but we have a lot of great senior defensive backs on this team, including my user, Micah Strickland, with his 97 speed. Then on our defensive line, I'm expecting John Shakir to have a massive season. He's not going to be the best pass rusher in the world, but he should be able to lock down any run. With all of that out of the way, I'll touch on our recruiting class after we open up the season at the Swamp. The last time that we played the Gators here, we pulled off the biggest upset in school history, and we're going to be looking to beat them again. It seems like at least last year, the Gators weren't as solid, which is why they're not ranked going into this game, but we are. And their best player is Nashawn Montgomery, a 91 overall receiver. Dijon Lee Jr. is a senior for us now. We're probably going to have him in a lot of man-to-man coverage over there. Starting off with an RPO. They're about to get 10 yards because I just can't tackle. Last season, I really thrived sitting there and intercepting a lot of bubble screens. We had so many pick sixes. But Dakota Fields is no longer on this roster, which is why we're going to use our Strickland with his 97 speed. I have him down here in the slot for a reason. I want to be able to get over to about every ball, but we cannot let them scramble for a first. Roland Witten clearly has some wheels on him, though they're going to try and get us with the play action here, and that's the first interception of the season. What did I say? What did I say? We're going to make plays with Strickland as we have a pick 6 as well. My user has gotten so much better as we've gotten farther into this dynasty. With a guy like him out there, I am so pumped up for this season. They can't go for the check down there, but we have a chance to get an interception again. And it seems like they are going to be passing on 2nd and 10. Where they're about to lose yards because Micah Strickland got out there. This is beautiful. On 3rd and 11, we're going to hope that we can get some pressure in there. We might have to send someone at their quarterback. I don't know where he is throwing this ball. It's not going to work for him. We haven't even gotten to use our improved offense yet, and I'm already feeling so much better about this year. I think Jordan Yeboah is going to be a very tough player for some of these defenses to stop, but you also got to think we should be able to run the ball. Austin Jennings has a lot of potential. We're throwing the out route here just because I saw Jordan Yeboah having a chance at getting that space. Not the fastest kid in the world. He also runs really weird, but we're going to take the 14-0 lead. This is honestly such a strange feeling for us to be starting off a season playing as well as we are, and look at Micah Strickland. He's 2 interceptions deep in the first quarter. I can't believe that we're playing this well. I mean, maybe the Gators really just aren't that good. We're going to try and cut inside with Jennings. How is this how we're opening up this game? 21-0. And their defense is atrocious. I don't know if it's because the Gators are bad or this FIU team's just a lot better than I was thinking it was going to be, but that could have been a touchdown play. See, here's the thing. Last season, we ended up crushing some teams like USF at the very beginning, which I expected. But then we ended up losing to programs like Cal and Wake Forest. I don't know what this season holds, but speaking of holding, there it is. They're going to be stuck on a 2nd and 20 where they just keep going over to their flat. It's not working. You have to wonder if at some point they're going to switch things up. On 3rd and long, they're punting it back to us. They even had another holding call as well. That's more holding calls than I think we've seen throughout this entire Dynasty series. I didn't need to expect it, but I would like to know. I am playing this for the first time since they just put out the patch. They could have changed some things about the gameplay, which might contribute to us playing better or worse. So far, it does feel pretty positive. On 2nd down, we're about to take a sack, and we'll see what we have on 3rd and 12. I don't think we're going to convert here, but we're reaching for it and we're short. If the Gators are going to compete in this one, they're going to have to start scoring some points. They just completed a huge 3rd and 5 where we missed the play with our safety. They're going to be at the 2. And this is why I didn't want to get too excited about our early lead. Now, they're saying that this was a touchdown. I'm kind of confused how it could be. They're reviewing it, and it's put the Gators on a 3rd and goal. I'm just going to run commit and sell out for this run, but we still couldn't stop them. I should have stacked the box a little bit better there. This is put us in a position, though, where we need to start scoring on offense again, and this is a great start from Austin Jennings. One of my main goals for this season versus some of the last ones, it's always been about interceptions. I feel like I throw too many. So it would be really nice if this season I actually threw a lot less of them. And so far, looking pretty good. Austin Jennings is going to be hard for teams to stop. I feel pretty comfortable in saying he is the best running back that we have had on this dynasty. But let's see. What are we going to be able to do through the air? That's not going to get us much. So we're going to put out a 2 tight end set for 3rd down, and they're guarding the drag. But Nick Machado doesn't care. See, there's a reason he won the John Mackey Award for being the best tight end in the country. In fact, I think teams might forget about him on this play. It looks like they didn't, and this could be a perfectly placed pass. Whether you like how this team did Alexander Bean or not, Darren Moody is a much more accurate option for us, and he's going to put us up 28-7 on the Gators. There's still far too much time for us to get comfortable with this lead, though, in this game. I mean, Florida started off by having a great drive in response. They've pretty much gotten a 1st down on every single play they've run so far. It's pretty scary. It makes me feel blessed that we started off as fast as we did. What's going to determine how this one goes will really all come down to how we start that 3rd quarter. They're going to get it within 18 points, but we got the stop, we prevented the touchdown, and now we're going to get the ball to start this 2nd half against them. I honestly can't believe we've only given Austin Jennings 5 carries. That halftime stat lets me know that he needs to see the rock a little bit more here. And if we just picked up that other blocker, we would have been gone. You know how we normally do it on 2nd and 10? We go with an RPO. It's off target. And I'll be very interested to see what type of coverage they go with on 3rd and 10. We're trying to find that gap. It was not open. I knew that they were running Tampa 2. Unfortunately, that mid-read was playing all the way back there. And he had some speed on him, so we weren't just going to outrun him for a touchdown. This game is all about momentum, so they could easily find themselves back in it. I would really like if we could get them off of the field on 3rd down, which we're going to do. And whenever we got these 2 tight end sets out there, I don't mind it since we got another good tight end transfer. We really need to get back to running the football, though, especially with Austin. I feel like this stretch play could go for a decent bit, but we are just fighting for the 1st. As I look at this play call before we hike it, a quarterback sneak would have been absolute money for us here. I just missed that hole completely. And it's about time that we get one of our backup running backs in there too. I'm not going to get too upset at Bickley. He ended up having some really big plays for us last year. You know that we can trust Nick Machado. And I have used this play action play before to beat the defense over the top. I'm not sure if we've run it enough recently in this game for it to matter, but it's a 50-50 jump ball for Jordan Yeboah. Give me the leverage, give me the size, and we're going to give it to them like that over and over. We're about to run for 7. We have finally got to the point in this dynasty file where we're the big boys, not these schools, and we can celebrate for 5 yards as we go in. The beautiful thing about how good our defensive line is we have been able to stop the run with a 4-man front. We don't even need many linebackers out there, but unfortunately, they're still getting off passes like that. If the Gators are going to get back into this one, though, they're going to have to score a touchdown pretty fast. You can see how quickly time has been running out for them as they're just going to hand this ball off and not go anywhere. They've taken almost half of this 4th quarter without being able to get any extra points. I'm honestly so proud of how we've played in this game. On 4th down, it's just going to be batted. And we ended up closing this one out 35-10 by just running out the rest of the clock. If we were to look through some of these player stats, Darren Moody only had to throw the ball 14 times. He didn't make any mistakes, really. Austin Jennings couldn't rush for as much in the 2nd half. Besides his breakaway run for a touchdown, they kind of were able to lock him down, which is a concern for the rest of the year, but I'm excited for Micah Strickland. We're also trying to see how many of these 5 stars do we actually stand a chance at getting. I thought it was worth our shot since we've become a bigger program, but unfortunately, it looks like only a couple of them were actually going to be able to jump up into one of those top spots. I can't even sit here and tell you like I really want one of these guys either. Obviously, these corners would be nice. We're losing basically our entire cornerback room to graduation. Same with our free safeties as well. But on the offensive side of things, the only offensive player we're currently going after is a lineman and then Damian Lyle, who's not the fastest running back. I really don't know what to think about our offensive future. At some point, we're going to have to address the quarterback position because Kevin Robbins could end up transferring it looks like Deshaun Creed's going to want to transfer due to playing time. Then you have guys like Emmett Bickley and Jalen Rainbolt that care about playing time with their normal development. I don't think they're ever going to be as good as Eric Peters will be. He's currently getting redshirted. On the receiving front, again, we're using a lot of red shirts for these younger players that we've brought in. With 40 coach points to spend, we also might as well go down this tactician tree a little bit more. I like when our defensive line has the best stats possible. We have now maximized that out, and I'm not sure what else we should look into. Probably our offensive line. We're not going to be able to get to tier 4 yet, but this will help us a little bit. And I'm excited to open up ACC play against Florida State, who's only 5 overalls worse than us. Now, we always seem to start the year rocking these Biscayne blue jerseys. I just feel like they look better than their navy ones, so that's what we're going to rock with against the Seminoles. But far more important to me is how full does this stadium look to you all? We have seen our stadium atmosphere not rise over the last 4 years, but this time around, it looks like we got a packed out crowd. It's taken us some time, but we've gotten people to show out for this game. The keys to it for Florida State to win is winning up front. That means we can't let them do that. We're ready to stop the run pretty early on, and I've left that kid so open over there. Now, when we played Florida State last season, we were able to force so many interceptions. It was honestly just impressive. But I highly doubt that 2 seasons in a row, Kevin Sperry's gonna have problems. He must have just had a bad game against us. I mean, he's currently throwing it well. And I have pass commit. I've shaded underneath in case there was any sort of RPO in this situation. We knocked it out. Since we haven't really run cover 3 yet, I think that's appropriate to go with on 3rd down. They have absolutely nowhere to go. And our stadium pulse bar is actually maxed out. I have not seen that in my time at being at FIU. They're going to hit the field goal, though. They might have still hit a field goal, but look at their defense. These kids are not that impressive. If I end up seeing any sort of press coverage, I'm going to take our chances at winning that. We're already going for like 15 yards. And I don't love running the option just because Darren Moody's not that fast. It's the one side of not having Alexander Bean out there, but what we can do is we can get Alexander Bean out there in certain running formations. Like, let's say we want to run QB blast. Well, guess who's going to be out there on the field for this play with his 94 speed? We did not upgrade it that high just to not use him. Dropping that ball there stinks, though. It's now 3rd and 2, and they're all over it. I told you, our offensive line isn't where I want it to be, though I was looking over to that side of the field, and we got Justin Devon. The one player that we have really not used that much of this season, though, is Tristan Glass, which is why we were ready to turn up field with him. He just took a leap of faith trying to reach the end zone there. Unfortunately, it just was not there. And I'm not sure if the quarterback sneak is either, but we get it. This is a good way to open up the game. There's still plenty of time. But I like the way that our offense is establishing themselves as they're going to try and respond. I know that Kevin Sperry has it in him to throw some interceptions against us. The question's just going to be, what type of defensive look is it going to take to freak him out and cause him to make some mistakes? After what we just did to that poor kid, he shouldn't be able to walk. It's going to hurt for him to get up in the morning. On 3rd down, they catch it. This has definitely been a little bit of a slower game compared to against Florida. By the end of the 1st quarter, no turnovers, and it's 7-3. Here on 2nd and 11, Ty Cordova's my user. Haven't really used him much this season. I just clicked on Galladay and he didn't even make a break on the ball there, which was really disappointing. At least make sure that you hit the dude, put some pressure on him, make it hard to hold on to the football. On this big 3rd down, they quickly get it out. Kevin Sperry is clearly feeling himself, and that's great blocking. That was a solid drive right there by the Seminoles. We had a little angle route, though. These RPOs are an absolute nightmare to stop, so we're going to keep on using them. It'd also be nice if Austin Jennings could break off a big run for us. Not really seeing it there. This is more so a play for Alexander Bean than anybody else. It didn't really look great, and we're going to see if we can hit that route. If not, we're going to playmaker, be patient, and then complete the pass to Tristan Glass. Shout out to our offensive line there, giving us the time to make that play happen. We're going to get a huge rushing touchdown, assuming they don't stop us short. Darren Moody just wasn't willing to fight for an extra half a yard. Once again, though, that's the type of stuff that we need if our defense isn't getting stops. I still remember Season 4 very vividly. Not being able to stop teams like Wake Forest actually scarred me. It was frustrating. I can guarantee that they're going to throw games like that at us again this year, but we got to be ready. I've been reading the comments. I've definitely seen stuff about I look way too deep too often, but we are going to try it here just because you remember, we have the advantage versus their defensive backs. We saw what the stats look like, and they can't keep up with Jordan Yeboah. I feel like especially when you're mixing in the run consistently, deep shots like that aren't the worst thing. But sometimes play action is money. Other times it's absolutely horrendous. We're going to have to go for a decent bit here. On 3rd and 11, I'm looking up the seam. It's so inaccurate that we're going to throw an interception. How? I know that the meter wasn't the best in the world, and we filled it up to yellow. but this kid's got 95 short and medium accuracy. Darren Moody was a bit of a disappointment there. I was even pass leading to the inside. Fortunately, they're not going to try to do very much with this. It seems like they've just run out the rest of the clock. This is going to be the final play of the half. It's just frustrating that we didn't get any points out of that drive because we should be up by 2 possessions. Maybe as we've received the ball to start this third quarter, we can play a little bit better. We got to understand our sophomore quarterback is never going to be perfect, but he can put the ball on the money there. Even if he still makes some mistakes, that is why we have him out there instead of Alexander Bean. And I'm really starting to think that this year, we're just not going to be able to establish the run at all. Whenever I was manually upgrading some of our players, I did focus on their pass blocking stats. That might have been a mistake. I probably should have evenly split it because it is starting to show, but we had all the blockers there and instead we fumbled. Honestly, if I was a little bit more patient there, that's probably a touchdown. Tristan Glass is just fast. He got in behind them so quickly. We aren't going to be able to get this. And I know what my first read is going to be on 3rd and 10. If we beat that press, we're going to go to him. If not, we're going to go to our tight end in the end zone, and it's just out of reach. That would have been a crazy play. Instead, we're settling for 3 where we miss it to the right. Stuff like that always happens to us. Florida State's going to be able to take a lead if they score a touchdown now. And this all comes back to mistakes that have been made in this game. We should have finished the first half with the touchdown. Hang on. We force a fumble. We've scooped it up. The one time that I click on and always hit stick, it actually pays off and we don't miss a tackle. This is where we can go back up by 11. I'm even willing to try the reverse play because our normal runs just haven't been working for us. Granted, that didn't either. And you know what? What is stopping me from looking over at our super high overall receiver and just throwing up a 50-50 ball? I'm not going to do it because we had the check down, but it's getting tempting, especially since I opened up Twitter today and I saw a post that said goal line fade is now really good. We're still a little bit too far away for me to want to try it. That could have been picked, but I will pull it out at some point. On 3rd and 12, we're going to have our tight end. It was almost thrown behind him, but we're good. We know Nick Machado, if it's put in the right spot, will hang on. At least Darren Moody didn't sell us twice in this game, and we were about to make a play with Strickland. I haven't been using him as much in this one, though we were able to cut off the running angle. And we have a cover 2 shaded underneath press on 3rd down where they're going to be able to hang on to that football. Kevin Sperry's going to do what he does, trying to keep his team in this game against us. He's certainly improved from last year. He is 19 for 21 at the moment. That is only his 3rd incompletion of the day, and they're going to have the slant. They're going to juke us, and we got to catch this kid. As we head into this 4th quarter, you all know how I handle the 4th quarter. This one's far from over. We could very easily choke this against the Seminoles, and I don't think they're going to go for another play like that after we were just able to make a tackle quickly. Whenever it comes to stopping the RPO, I've been pretty proud of this team. There's just perfect hitch routes out there everywhere. Even with all of our zones, there was no way to guard it. They are attempting a field goal, though, which they're gonna miss. For whatever reason, just kicking from the hash mark in this game is so difficult. I can't get it down. The computer can't get it down. There's gonna be a flag. I really thought that we ran that perfectly, but we didn't. We simply took a little bit too long to get that ball out. But you know that we got a receiver with press pros and ability. Jordan Yeboah is open. Now we can go back to running the football. We're going to hope that our blocks can hold up because this should allow for a big gain from Justin Devon. Now the Seminoles should be sweating because we're getting closer and closer to closing this one out. We have 12 rushing attempts for 10 yards, though. I mean, this game could not have gone worse for Austin Jennings. I just can't believe that's his biggest run of the day. We're going to be on a 3rd and 3. Last year when I ran this play in this situation, our running back was wide open, so I'm going to stare him down. If it's not there, though, we'll go for that. I think it's only right we let Alexander Bean finish this drive off. He's just going to run straight into the end zone. I would like to beam this ball at the fans. Sometimes you can get that celebration animation just by running up to them. Now, why do I want to beam the ball at our own fans? Just because it's funny. I don't care if it is a little bit harsh. They're going to be able to complete this. They've continued to do that, getting down the field pretty quick. And you might think, it's not that big of a deal, but the problem is giving up this many passing yards affects our playing style. Assuming we recover this onside kick, we're going to win this game, and we do. But the problem is since we've given up so many passing yards, it's going to affect what defensive backs we can get. In fact, even though Darren Moody played pretty well besides that one missed throw, I think he threw for less passing yards than Sperry did for Florida State. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. We have a C- school grade whenever it comes to our defensive backs because of how many defensive passing yards we give up per game. It's going to affect our chances at signing some of these corners as well, especially the 5 stars. I just don't think we're going to be able to beat out Georgia. We're going to have to guess school actual grades correctly whenever the time comes. I also have talked before on this channel a lot about how important it is to know when to pull out. So we know that Penn State's going to get this kid from New Jersey over us. They have a tier 5 pipeline. We don't have one there. We just had to take him off our board. With a little bit of a revamp to our board, we still have most of the players that we were originally going after, especially defensive backs, because like I said, we need to get a lot of corners, but we have switched it up a bit. We took off the 5-star gym. We'll see how all those pan out. We have been able to schedule a couple guys for a visit against our rivals FAU next week. But before we take them on, we have to play at number 2 Clemson, and then we have a bye week, which would then follow with at number 1 LSU. This start to our season is absolutely miserable. Our schedule is certainly not for the week, but my hope is since we have so many top teams on our schedule, we could lose a few games and still be considered a playoff team. Like right now, we're ranked inside the top 10. Especially since we're in the ACC now, we're getting a lot of respect, and there is a reason that this is going to be the game of the week. Only time will tell, though, how this is going to go. Of course, we're playing in front of a sold-out crowd. They got everybody, even behind the end zone, packed into this stadium. We decided that we're going to rock with some of the Vice jerseys. We might even have our first kickoff return of the year, but unfortunately, they were able to catch us, and this defense is not looking great on the defensive line, at least at the defensive tackle position, so we're going to run straight into them. That didn't go too well, though. I'm not going to try as many outside runs in this game because I did see that both of their edges were like 90 overalls. Those 2 stars that have the stars underneath them are not going to be very fun to get around, but we're going straight up the middle. This is why it's so important to scout the team that you're playing before you end up facing them. It's about to be another first down. And we're continuing to work it to that exact spot. With the stadium pulse being as loud as it is, unfortunately, I'm going to have to run back the exact same play. I didn't mean to call it, but it panned out for us. It's really not hurting us to continue to run it straight up the middle. And I feel like we've already run the ball so many times, they're probably going to sell out to stop the run here, but they could have caught that. I tried to fit it in there quick. I'm not even sure where these routes are going to be going on 3rd and 10. Underneath is where we're going to look, and it's going to have to be 3. I'd rather take our points instead of going for it here and not getting any. The meter's moving a little bit faster than I would have liked, but we should be able to lock in and drill this. Yes, Wade Shaw might have missed one in the last game, but I'm trusting him in this one. Not loving the Tigers, just pulled that play straight from our playbook. We're going to give them a cover 4 look, though, and that's not going to lead to much. See, when we played the Tigers last year and we ended up beating them, it was at home, but it was all because of our defense. If we're going to pull this one off, we're going to need them to play that same level of way, but they should have had a touchdown. We are actually so lucky he didn't notice that that ball was coming in his direction. It doesn't matter, though. They're at the 10. I think it's about time that we get a little bit more aggressive. We send in our blitz. That could have been placed better. The idea behind it was solid. The execution, not so much, though we just got held up, and that's going to make this a 3rd and 1. If there was any time for our defense to step up, now would be that. I was ready just in case they had an RPO. Does it look like that mattered, though? No, they just had a gaping hole to pound it through. And now we're down by 4. This is one of the teams we're going to face this season where our defensive line is simply just not going to overwhelm them. But I'll take setting up for a 2nd and inches where we can easily let Austin Jennings get loose there. Now, if Justin Devon was useful and he picked up his block on that safety, I think that could have gone for a touchdown. We were able to maintain ourselves in the pocket there, not take a sack. I actually really like the block pickup from Austin Jennings. It feels like out of play action they normally don't get there. That is a perfect example, though, of what most of our run game is going to look like in this matchup. We knew we wanted to get this one out quick. And I wonder if I'm overthinking it. We do have some huge receivers on the outside. That's a great grab. Anyway, this is where I wanted to try the goal line fade play, but I don't see it in our playbook. Unfortunately, our goal line doesn't have a receiver on the outside, so it must be in just specific ones. That means we don't get to throw the fade route that apparently works now. I still don't believe that they do. I will have to see it to believe it. Though, on 2nd and goal, I had a plan. Basically, drop back and run it in with Darren Moody. Who wants this ball in my hands right here? Please, just beam it at one of the fans. It would be so much funnier. I would really like to trigger that animation. It has been popping up whatever coverage we're in before Clemson runs their play, by the way. Assuming it's the same as in 25, I'm guessing that means their quarterback has the field general ability. Not really sure how the computer AI reacts to that, but they should know what type of coverage we're in. That's going to make getting them off of the field even harder. On 3rd and 4, I don't think we're going to get to him in time. We miss the hit stick tackle as well. He just skipped right over our head, so now we're back down by 4. This is going to be a very long game for us. It looks like we had a hole there. We break off one tackle, we'll take it. This is kind of weird. We're running the ball a lot better against Clemson than we were against Florida State last week. Maybe they had better defensive tackles. This is where we always hit our play action, though. Are we going to get a 50-50 ball look here? It is man-to-man coverage, but I think we're better off just finding Justin Devon instead as we put it right by that defender's head. This might come down to who can force the first defensive stop. I mean, they thought sending a blitz there was going to help them. It didn't. We're closely approaching the 2-minute warning as well. And I think this is where we need to mix in my favorite play. I'm not saying that Jordan Yeboah is going to get open here. It looks like he might have if we had another second. I just could not risk throwing an interception. We're going to wait for a dump off, and he swats it down. Now, I have been told if you only go like half power on these kicks, they're more likely to go in. That almost did not help us, though, so that was bad advice. I don't know if it's the camera angle or what, but where you point that arrow is not lined up well. Unfortunately, we couldn't get our touchdown there. They have it back, but if they don't have a flawless drive, we're going to see this ball before the end of the half. I can't believe I'm saying this, but that might be the first time Jaden Woods has been able to get a sack this season. And look at this. With 75 seconds left in the first half, we have the ball, but we're going to have to break the first tackle. Now our hot routes aren't going to work, which really messes up this next play I wanted to run. We're going to probably have to escape the pressure pretty quick. Just not going the way I was hoping this drive would. On third down, we're going to wait for a running back to get open. Granted, I was staring him down, but he would have been gone there with another second. We just couldn't throw it before he cleared that linebacker, or else it would have been bad. If I understand how the AI is going to operate here, though, they're either just going to run the ball and then take out the rest of the time in this half, assuming we tackle, but maybe not. Maybe this AI is a little bit more aggressive because they just tried to go for a big play. Dabo Sweeney is not with Clemson, by the way, on this file. He ended up going to Alabama. I just completely whiffed right there. And you best believe I called a timeout to give us at least a chance at being able to return this punt. If there is one thing I understand, we have a 6'5" receiver. We have 7 seconds to get up a 50-50 ball and see if he can bring this in and put us in field goal range. Without that working out, we can basically just take this to the end of the first half. Austin Jennings doesn't have anywhere to go. And this is just the battles we're going to run into whenever we face big programs like Clemson. Look at how many conference championships they've won. In FIU's history, we've only been able to get them 2, and both of those came in Conference USA. One thing I've really avoided doing a lot of this season is manning up that outside corner, but I was kind of curious, how would that work here? They didn't even look in his direction. It's a little bit of a risky decision, especially if you end up getting clicked off of playing back in coverage. But look at this. It's 3rd and 1. We know that they're most likely going to run the football, and I was trying so hard to bait them into making a mistake there. I just jumped at it too soon with Micah Strickland, and then that one was out of reach. I feel like my timing with those has really been off this season versus what it was last year. Micah just got stiff to the ground. He took a stiffy there, but it's all good. It's 3rd and 10. They're going to have to find a way to pick this up. I am pretty sure that was my zone, though, and this 5'6" white kid is torching our defense. This is setting up to be Clemson's longest drive of the game, but we get in there with the user play. Freshman linebacker Carlos Haddad got in there so fast. He's going to be with us for a very long time. And of course, they just dotted us up, plus breaking the tackle. This kid's done it twice now. I don't know if we're playing against like a Sammy Watkins at Clemson or what, but this is not looking good. We are now trailing by 8 on the road, and we've gone back to our roots, the RPO. This is where Darren Moody proves that he should be the starting quarterback out there for us. I shouldn't have cut it up to the middle. It's going to be 3rd and 5, and we're going to get this ball out. But where are our blockers? We solved one issue whenever it came to, do we have a quarterback that's probably good enough to lead us to a championship? I believe we do. Is the rest of this team on that level yet, though? I'm not sure. I feel like parts of our defense actually are. They've gotten us to bite, and it wouldn't let me put my hands up. What I don't want this season to be is another 10-3 year. Even if we can't pull this one off, it's not the end of the world. Jennings, turn around. How do you not realize that you got a dude coming behind you there? Halfback screen? They're going to be able to go to the red zone with this thing. And this is not looking good for us. They've barely run the ball, by the way. I don't know why, because he just shed that tackle like it was nothing. I think that's why Clemson's been so hard to stop, though. We're much better at stopping the run than the pass. He's literally only got like 5 carries in this game. Everything else, we've been having to stop them through the air. I am stuck, and we still get the sack. We are up to 4 sacks in this game. They're not going to get the snap off before the end of the 3rd quarter. So to start the 4th, we have the biggest defensive play of the day. At the moment, they're throwing for 3 times more than us. When you look at it like that, it's kind of a shock that we're in this. But that was an awful 3rd and goal play call. Of course, they hit from the hash mark. Now, the 4th quarter is where the computer tends to play their best football. I'm not sure if we have it in us to pull off the comeback, but I liked the alignment look that I was seeing over on that side. It just didn't matter that we had them beat because they were able to catch up to the ball in the air there I've put in Alexander Bean for a play. Quarterback draws typically go well with him. We know that we're going to have to start moving the ball a little bit quicker. Running it just hasn't worked out as well. But that sack makes it 2nd and 19. We're going to step up in the pocket. We're going to get this one out to Nick Machado. And I'm waiting for Justin Devon to get open here underneath. If they end up playing Nick Machado, then we're going to be able to split them. That's going to be a beautiful ball. And fortunately, the stadium pulse after that's pretty much gone away, though he just got in our way. If we can get a man-to-man coverage look, I am going to throw it to the best receiver on this team. Unfortunately, I threw it straight to them because he wasn't open. They had guys double team there, and I panicked. I should have just hit throwing it away, but I did. Look at this lockup job that they did on Jordan Yeboah, by the way. I couldn't have thrown it. I really wanted to place the ball there until I realized how many guys were actually on him. It wasn't just one. Turning it over, though, wasn't the move either. It's pretty much cost us this. Since we're so much more desperate now, I guess we can afford to try and stop the run a little bit better. But is our hard flat going to play there? He does. Okay, with 3.5 minutes left in this game, we're down by 11 points to Clemson. We got a long way to go. And I'm not sure if our hurry-up offense is going to work too well. At least the play call I wanted worked, and Austin Jennings just isn't as quick as we need him to be. I miss having our 98 speed running back from last year. It looks like they're going to get a sack. Probably better than forcing it there. It seemed like everybody I would have thrown the ball to was pretty locked up. But even if it would have only gotten us like 5 yards, would have been much better to just take the drag there. Now we have to look for some massive gains, and you know how we're going to do this. Unfortunately, I think this game might just be a wrap. We're going to try to see if we can put this in between those two safeties. It gets deflected, and Clemson's gotten another stop. That might be the worst 4 offensive plays we've run this entire game, and it's only going to get worse. They're being so disrespectful. They weren't even running the football there. I would still like to get the ball back just to keep our chances alive, though. He's somehow going to break out of that tackle, and he's going to get around us for a touchdown? Seriously? Teddy Ansah's got to be the best receiver we've faced throughout this entire dynasty. I mean, he's just been absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe how well they've been able to lock down our 4 verticals as well. We're literally just throwing it up at this point. I've given chance after chance to Jordan Yeboah, and you know what? Let's just dump this one off and get to the marker. Even though there's no chance of a comeback, what I need to do is I need to figure out how to win jump balls against these really good teams. If it's possible for us to still throw bullet passes, click on, and then come down with it like this, that would be helpful. It didn't necessarily work out for us there, though, and we're just losing yards. From that game, we genuinely just felt like we got beat on every single front. That win against Clemson last year was pretty rare. It's going to drop us down to number 15 in the polls, and the worst part is after playing FAU, we have to do this all over again going into the other Death Valley against LSU. I should also point out that at some point this season, we're going to have number 9 Pittsburgh on our schedule. There's not as many teams from the ACC ranked at the moment, which is weird. Normally, we had like 6 or 7 teams in the top 25. One loss does not ruin this season, though. We're going back into recruiting, checking out how we're doing on some of these prospects. We still haven't hit the top 5 for most of these 5 stars, but we have for Deshaun Adams, and this kid's got some great hard sells. I'm gonna be honest, I think we should be able to lock this kid in just because our only competition is going to be from Illinois. We have the better pipeline, and I can't imagine that their grades are better than ours. He's from Florida. He'll probably want to stay local, but so is this kid who is currently preferring Miami over us. And it's not because we got the hard sell wrong. Our program tradition just isn't up to his standard. If we look over the last 3 times that we've played FAU, by the way, we beat them by 2 points in 2026. We beat them by 17 in 2027. Last year, we beat them by the most points ever in 2028. So the Don Shula Trophy should be staying with us in Miami, not going up to Fort Lauderdale. I think that's where FAU's at. It's all within like the same area. They're like an hour-and-a-half drive north. They're a 64 overall, so we should not blow this. It is literally the one fun team that we get to face this season. They're the one I'm not going to take as seriously because I know that we should be able to pull off a little bit more just based off of their overall. I think it'd be really nice if this time we didn't give up 28 points. Just really asserted our dominance on the Owls instead, and their first play goes for at least 15, 20, 25, maybe 30. Don't tell me that Fashion Kashawn McGee is going to give us nightmares. I mean, they're already at the 1-yard line. This is not real life. We cannot lose to FAU. See how we just locked that up there? Well, on this next play, they're going to come close. And I am going to run commit because that seems like the only thing that they could do here but I didn't account for a read option. I knew Brandon Chambers was coming off of a 403-yard passing game. I didn't know that he was coming off of running it well too. But like last year, their defense is going to have an answer for our offense. And this might be a penalty against us. I never see an offensive pass interference. What a brutal start to this game. On a 2nd and 20, we're going to try and pull them down and then place it over that defender's head. It wasn't really there. 3rd and 20, they're going to bring in some more pressure. And once again, they're sticking with Jordan Yeboah. I'm going to be honest, despite this being a rivalry, we did absolutely zero prep for this game. We're looking far ahead to the LSU one. All of our guys have already planned where they're going to party after the win. They just weren't ready, which has turned this into more of a trap game than I really thought would be possible. They have hit us with a little underneath route, but that went straight through our hands, and on 3rd down, they get just enough. If we get a clean blitz in, there's absolutely no way that they get it out in time. I feel like I can trust our coverage to lock up these guys, but it's going to be another 3rd and short. We're actually playing this pretty aggressively. I don't mind pressing their receivers. I just can't expect them to beat us deep. But Brandon Chambers makes the right read again. We're going to watch the motion out to that side. John Shakir is actually going to get the first sack this season that I've noticed. And are we going to be able to get out there? Click me on to 73. I don't want to be clicked on to the corner there. We were guarding that underneath. But who would have thought? We're going to have to sit here and lock in a little bit if we want to take down FAU. On 2nd and 14, we got slants out there. I mean, there's just no way that they're going to be able to fully keep up with us. We get to about midfield. I just can't believe that they were trying to run man-to-man coverage there, and we had him. Come on, give me enough time on 2nd down. We didn't get it though. It is now 3rd down. We have the skills to beat them there, and they are not pressing our best receiver. There's just no way. I guess they did have safety help over top. We're not hanging on to that ball there. But do you know who I trust in these situations? Tristan Glass. He makes catches like that all the time. I feel like he's just better than Jordan Yeboah whenever it comes to winning jump balls like that one. It's now 2nd and goal though after that play, and they're getting in so quick. I'm really hoping they go with man-to-man coverage here. We're going to have him in the corner of the end zone. But it's an inaccurate pass, and we're still losing by 4. I thought we'd be able to have maybe a little bit of fun in this game. Why did you block the throw? That was the easiest pick 6 ever. Anyway, I thought we were going to have some fun just because they're the low overall team. But that has really not been the case. We're going to give up everything short underneath. That's fine. We can't be 4 for 11 with Darren Moody. It's just unacceptable. We also can't let them deter us from running the football, so we're going to go back to doing that. Cut up field, and get 9. I can't let that loss to Clemson discourage us offensively. The issues that we had against them last week, we should not be having against the Owls. Counter runs are so bad in this game out of shotgun. I don't know why. They just happen to be that terrible, but it's going to be 3rd and 15. And they're flipping players right now, trying to get over to Jordan Yeboah. We're just going to get this quick snap off, and we have Tristan Glass. I also think if this is cover 2, we might be able to just split the safeties here. We're throwing over that kid's head, and they got to it. They got to it. You cannot split them on this game. They are making those plays, even as like 75 overalls. For all we know, he could be a 65 overall, and you could say it wasn't open. The thing is, though, it was. He wasn't going to turn around and see the ball. It was just the safety that got over there. This is a good lesson, though. We're going to have to take every team seriously. It is time to go back to our RPO run offense. We're going to get a good start to this drive with this return. And let's see, are they even going to acknowledge that Nick Machado's just going to run up the seam there? They did, but we could hand it off. Solid start to this drive. We're also going to go underneath for a couple more. What we really want is an alignment like this and for them to sell out to stop the run, but they didn't. 3rd and 1, we're either taking Tristan Glass or we're just handing this ball off. He was open. He's going to turn upfield. And I think Austin Jennings could end up routing up one of these players if it was man-to-man coverage. Turned out to be zone, though. We'll just go with a little bit of a wide receiver screen on this next play. We're going to have the blockers. I was patient. I waited for them. And we should have the numbers over on that side of the field. We're just going to have to get around them. If we do not get a touchdown to end this first half, I'm going to be extremely salty. There it is, though. Austin Jennings bulldozes his way through, and we're up by 3. I would appreciate if we just wiped our memory from how that first half went as well. That cannot be the standard for FIU football. What is this blocking? That play was absolute money before they decided to put out a title update this morning. And I've just noticed that running the ball is not as effective as it used to be. I really wish that they just had separate modes for comp and sim. A way that you could toggle between the two. Because if they end up catering to make some of the gameplay more beneficial to the comp side, instead of the sim, that ruins the offline experience. You all saw how much I was enjoying this game when it first came out too. We were just running the ball a lot better, and I don't think it's an overall thing because this is against FAU. Here on 3rd and 8, we're going to see if we can get A wide open Tristan Glass in the end zone. I think the little slight motion from our running back ended up messing with their zones. I was really just looking underneath, but then I saw him wide open, and look at where they're at on the field. They've come out a little hot, trying to keep this one competitive, and they're going to win another. They're going to win a jump ball over our heads. You know how I like to respond to stuff like that? I like to say, hey, we have guys that can do that same sort of thing to you. We're going to throw this one up to Tristan Glass and not catch it. It was worth it, though. It was worth it. 2nd and 10. Easy running lane up the middle, and Austin Jennings is gonna be gone to the crib. If that ref doesn't move out of the way, we are easily taking that one in, and we get to beam this one hard at the side of the stands. He needs to aim a little bit up there. 2nd and 4. I got all of that locked up. Never mind. I don't. It's kind of weird how we just don't play as well with a 97 speed user. I don't think anything will ever match the defensive season that we had last year. And it's about to be 3rd and 9. We're going to go with just a stock cover 3. I don't know why we left him open, but we still have our 10-point lead that we're just trying to protect, and we couldn't grab it. You know what? It's time that we get a little bit aggressive here. I get so nervous every time they end up flipping the play or something, though. Our alignment is way off. I'm glad that they just ran it. Nothing is scarier than a team in hurry-up mode that just changes their play call a couple of times. The way the Owls are playing, it's making me think that FIU is actually pretty good this year. It's back within 3. They're coming out with this very aggressive front, though. If we can just everyone pick up their man and hold it, we should get a massive run out of Austin Jennings. I don't know why they decide to stick with that, but we're going to do the same type of thing. It's not working. I think we're going to be able to hit Justin Devon with this bubble, though. They're going to stick with our tight end, which is great because he can get us a good bit. And we're going to hand this one off with a gaping hole for him. I don't like how we just got sucked there, though. Like, there was clearly a wide open hole to run through, and they still got hands on Austin Jennings. Maybe a little bit of an RPO is going to get them here since we've run it so many times recently. Look at that juke move from Nick Machado. He's like hitting a little cha-cha slide on them there. That was one of the cleanest ones I've seen. It didn't really do too much for us. Should we try and split them there? Probably not. That risk really wasn't that worth it, but you know who we're trusting. I do not want to see that animation again, though. Anything besides that if you're going to break up the pass. All right, we're ready to play the RPO. They just threw it straight over our head. We were not looking for the pass. I was the only player on the field that was, and we took away their underneath, but can't get to that ball. I really think playing a flat is better than anything else for us. I say that as we just give up 15 yards and they get closer. I am going to pull out double mug for just one play since we've not done that yet this year. We can get our hands on that football as well with Dijon Lee Jr. And the senior cornerback makes one of the most clutch plays in this rivalry. He has never lost to FAU since he's been a part of this roster, and he's trying to keep that streak going. If they sell out for the run here, we should have been able to really fake them out. Instead, though, it's going to be 3rd and short. And I've decided we are going to run just straight into them here, which is enough. If we get one more first down, there's absolutely nothing they'll be able to do. And the cool part about that is I was thinking that they'd allow us to throw it without really being prepared, but they seem to be there. I really do not want to punt this ball back to them. I'd much rather just end it with a quarterback kneel. But they played that well. They played that very well. With 38 seconds, that means we're punting it back to them and hoping that they don't make a play on it. This is the most terrifying spot to be in a game where you have to play defense on the computer in the final 30 seconds. They normally cook up some pretty crazy stuff, but that made time run off the clock. If we can just keep FAU in bounds, that's all that we're going to need to win this game. This is the first time this rivalry's been close in years, but they were able to keep it tight. We get the sack, and this is it right here. 4th and 17. Their quarterback throws it short, and you're not getting enough. I can't sit here and say I am proud with this win, that I'm happy with this win, but at least we got it done. We also saw Austin Jennings get some big gains on the ground. I have my doubts that he'll be able to do that against LSU, but we can hope, and this is the first time that we've unlocked the architect here. I don't think I've been able to get this in any of my rebuilds or anything. It only cost 15 coach points to actually purchase. We could go down this if we wanted to get to tier 3. It gives us a chance to increase a random skill cap every time a player levels up, but who knows what I'll end up doing with that. We've gotten our first commit for our offensive line. It really stinks, though, that over our bye week, we actually got a deal breaker on David Vincent. I don't know how that's possible for our playing style to decrease whenever we're not playing, but it did. It took him out the picture for a little bit, and you can see with this 5-star corner, Joshua Drake, even with almost a perfect hard sell, Georgia has just taken a huge jump over us. We also ended up falling into a recruiting battle with Miami for JT McNutt. He was about to commit, but he didn't, so now they're probably going to be able to steal him away from us. Just frustrating stuff happening to us on the recruiting recruiting front, but I have a feeling as we go on the road to play 91 overall LSU, there's going to be far more frustrating things that happen in this game. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to put this game on our schedule. Looking back, it's just going to hurt us. Unless we're able to somehow win against Daryl Scruggs, we're probably going to come close to dropping out of the top 25, but what if we pulled this off? It might really establish FIU as the real deal, not just a team that only got into the playoffs because we played in Conference USA. We're going to have to play our best football, though, if we want to pull this game off. And I can't really complain about what I'm seeing defensively so far, though we just left him wide open. It's very hard to lock down everything. He just burst out of that hole with acceleration. We got our eyes on Brian Spicer. Looks like they have another running back out there, though. And they catch that? All right, that makes it 3rd and inches. I can't guard everything here, but I think we're getting the sack. John Shakir making the plays that we expect out of him. And please do not pin us back at the 1-yard line. No, that's on the line. Come on. We are going to have to start this drive basically in the end zone. What do you do in this situation? Stadium Pulse at the #1 place in the country. We're in an absolutely atrocious position. Quick RPO reads are all that I can think of, and we're going to try to hand this one off. Austin Jennings cuts it up. That's nice. No longer in danger zone, but we still have to go another 84 yards down the field, which is going to be pretty difficult. I'm liking how we're coming, though. We're going to get nothing here. Maybe on 2nd and 13, our blocking is going to hold up a little bit better here. No, it doesn't. Well, I think we can just expect to punt this one back to the Tigers. It's not going to be enough. We can at least flip the field against them, though, which is nice because we literally started that drive in a position where I thought we were just going to take a safety. I don't love that we've basically sat in like the same coverage this entire game, but it has been working. Eventually, they will pick up on it, so we do need to switch up some. The seam wasn't there, but their running back was. We really just rotate between cover 2 and cover 3. I feel like cover 4 is going to give up way too much underneath. They made the wrong read there, though. We snag it with Galladay. I feel like LSU's quarterback's actually not been so impressive for them so far. Get out of Austin's way. I wasn't even sprinting. I was trying to wait on our blocker there. We're going to get out a very quick pass. And I'm starting to come to the conclusion that it might be time for us to switch it up and try a new playbook here at FIU throughout the rest of the year. We have done the same thing for now 5 seasons that I've been the coach there, and I feel like we've basically mastered all the plays in here. We have a pretty good idea of what we're going to do with each one, and they just tackled our receiving tight end, so that's going to be a flag. Absolute perfection right there. I do see Tristan Glass with the potential to get open, though we are going to go over to Nick Machado instead. It just wasn't worth the risk of throwing up a 50-50 ball there, and solid running too. What I don't really like about this playbook, though, is this is the best that we can do. Like, we don't have an I form or a single back. We can't really go under center, and a quarterback blast on 3rd and 1 is going to lead to a wide open lane. Alexander being short, though. I don't think they'd expect us to run the same play twice, which we're not. We're going halfback direct instead this time. That puts us up with the lead, and we're beaming it. At some point this season, we will hit a fan. They are not safe. And I think it'd be neat if EA had, like, excessive celebration penalties in this game as well. Like, they allow you to do crazy stuff. Like, maybe you can mock the Florida Gator chomp, but then there's also a penalty for it. And sometimes it's worth just taking that penalty because the celebration's that hard. I think dunking on the upright's another one that's not allowed, but you can run over to it and actually pull it off if you're willing to accept the penalty. Just stuff like that would be a lot of fun. On 3rd down, they went underneath. The running back cut up to the right spot on the field. I was kind of hoping he'd be dumb there and just blindly run towards the sideline, which, can we make that tackle? I saw one of our defensive backs just terrified to go in on him. They're going to make this throw on the run and complete it. Cover 4 not panning out for us there, but the run is not panning out for them. They made the wrong decision to keep it. They got us, though. I can't even be mad either. That was a great play call. Hopefully, we can end this first half with a huge play. Austin Jennings, 1 kid to beat. We're going for the stiff arm if he comes near us. He sheds the tackle, and he is in the end zone. You know what? We'll beam this at one of the reporters' heads. Take 2 of them off at once. When they score, we responded back even quicker. No way. He just dusted Hayer over the top. That's our highest overall corner. Then I'm seeing we're starting this next drive on the 7-yard line. We must have had trouble with the kickoff or something. Is this going to be another big run now? This was such a defensive game at first, and then everything just opened up so fast. I really hope that we can finish this first half with the lead against them, but we're not getting much here. On 2nd and 8, are they going to give us man-to-man coverage, or is it going to be more of a zone? It was zone, and even though we had someone open, they were able to bat it down. I tried to fit it in there. That's got to be a possession catch. I went for the aggressive thinking that it could have been a pick. I didn't want them to get it there. So they snagged that. As well as we were playing for a little bit, it looks like we're going to end this first half trailing. Knocking that ball loose is nice, though. On 2nd and 10, they're going to throw it at us, and they couldn't catch it. Although I wish that we were able to get the interception. That could have been much worse. I think we played some really great defense right there, and we're going to try and go for more points still. I'm not going to force anything crazy, though. That is something I have to keep in mind. We don't want to give them the ball in a good spot. We're just going to see what their defense is giving us, and I think we're going to be able to split them right to Nick Machado, who's at the 24. 30 seconds left on the clock still. Can we pull that off again? It's not necessarily there, and he comes to that ball first. I did the one thing I said I wasn't going to do. I thought I could throw it short and we'd be able to get there first, and we just gave up 3 points. Free. I am incapable of throwing the ball away and just accepting that we're not going to be able to complete a pass. I'm just so frustrated at the moment. Got hands back on the controller real quick. They tried to do something on this final play of the half. Hang on. Get some blocks for me. Never mind. Interesting end to that quarter there. I feel like we always end up throwing a pick whenever we play one of these big schools to end the quarter. But at least we get this ball to start the second half, and I felt like it was better to throw it there than run the ball. I'm also pitching this speed option a lot faster than I was last season, which means we should be able to run it and let Austin Jennings go to work. They didn't have the alignment to stop it there. They've now let him run for 132 yards. We'll mix in a halfback draw too. That should have been a fumble. I can't really audible in this situation, which means we're just going to have to go deep. Nick Machado clears the defender on him, and we're back up by 7 points. We're not going to let that interception at the end of the half ruin all of the momentum that we have in this game. Come on. Give us the interception there. There's just no way they get almost a first. We literally had a player, no joke, that was all up in him. The computer throws just as blind stuff as I do, except they get away from it. Great 3rd and 1 stop. Lester Galladay is going to be like the only good defensive back on this team that's going to return next season because he's a junior. And let's see. Can we get anything going with this punt return? I really thought we were about to get them there. I don't love throwing this one to Bush, but he had the leverage and the chance to get us 20. It was also Alexander Bean making that throw because we were out there in his formation. We should be running it with him more. LSU's run defense has really not been as good as you might think it would be, though they're getting the sack. And it's like anytime we try to bite off a little bit more than we can chew, we get punished for it. We should have just kept it on the ground. Now it is 3rd and 11. I am terrified of hitting the seam here. We're trying to run, and we know this field goal is not going to be easy for us, but we have to hope that we can at least get it off. They almost blocked it, and it's wide. The struggle for us to put away a game is real. They're sending up a 50-50 ball here, though. Come on, give it to us. That's pretty accurate for Dijon Lee Jr. He just never wins those. Frustrating, but I don't know what else we can do about it. We're actually going to use our hair here and hope that they aren't able to split us. We might have run Tampa 2 in that situation a few too many times. They knew what was coming. We're back with the ball, though, and another chance to drive down the field against them. I feel like just having Nick Machado on a simple drag route's the best thing that we can do. It distracts the defense a bit. They know he's been our #1 receiver, so they have to put eyes on him, and we have the mismatch over there, but I couldn't throw it. It took way too long to get that ball out. On 2nd down, we're just going for like 5. And I know the exact play that I want to run here. I have a couple reads that I'm going to be looking for. First one, wide open. We don't even have to look anywhere else. Lighting looking a lot better as we go into the 4th quarter as well. Take this handoff. See if we can break enough. Another one with Austin Jennings. Austin Jennings slips through the cracks, and they're not going to catch him in time. So much for not being able to run the ball. We've done that against LSU today, which is weird. They're one of the best defenses we'll face. I really don't know what's causing that. They thought they could run 4 verticals against us, though. We had it in our hands. That was actually it right there. If he tries to roll out, we have a quarterback contained this time around. They're going to have a wide open underneath route. He's just like me, though. They don't like to take their checkdowns. And on 3rd and 10, make the diving tackle. He's short. Unfortunately, they are out here in Wildcat for 4th and inches. But I ran commit up the middle because I thought we'd be able to stop him. Look at how slow this kid is. That's why the north-south receiver is like the worst running back archetype of all time. It's basically just a fullback. They're so slow. I don't know why there's 5-star running backs that are able to get it, but they are. And let's see. What do they have on 3rd and 4? A scramble? Not straight up. Instead of taking the first down, he opted to run straight into one of our defenders. This is one of the worst quarterbacks I think we've played all year. There's just no way. I swear, we should have been able to swat that. I went for the pick, though. could be my fault. We could have ended the game. Instead, they've kept themselves in it. It's like you see stuff like that happen, and now I can basically guarantee that running the football will no longer work as well for us. Never mind, it still is going well. Austin Jennings up to 214 yards on the ground. He's really not taking that much wear and tear damage either. But it is now 2nd and 12, and our RPO is not going for anything. See, this is where they get right back into this game. Looks like they're going to go with man-to-man coverage there. And yeah, they were guarding him underneath. He wasn't open, but we wouldn't have had anybody. I say that knowing I just stared that route down, and our drag was probably as open as could possibly be. But we're going to get the interception anyway with Strickland, so it doesn't matter. Micah Strickland, I was not expecting him to get to that ball right there. We're right back in the control of this game, though. Except that did not work. I think we might as well just go direct halfback snap. This is a play that can sometimes lead to some really great blocking. They have put us on a 3rd and 12, though. We didn't have the speed to run to the outside there. We should have known better. I'm going to try and place this in that gap, but he gets a hand on it. It's really not the end of the world because, once again, we're just going to continue to lean on our defense. I think we can lock up in this final 2 minutes. With the game on the line, LSU has been able to get the ball out, and they just threw it straight at us, but they somehow get 10 yards out of it. All of a sudden, we know how this is going to go. They're going to pull off some miracle drive, and it's going to go to overtime. Darryl Scruggs has thrown 3 interceptions in this game. All we need is for him to make one more mistake. On 2nd and 3, I'm guarding the running back down low, and he's going to try and scramble, so we're going to go for the hit stick, but he's keeping that ball in his hands. He got injured on that play, though, so with a minute left on the clock, their backup quarterback's out there, and he's missing his target. Darryl Scruggs has a bruised shoulder, so if we end up losing to a backup QB, I'm going to be so salty. It's going to be very difficult to get them off of the field, though, as we've left him open. That's another aggressive catch. I'm going deep into our playbook here. I'm going for stuff that I know should at least allow us to get into field goal range. The main problem, though, is Stadium Pulse is going to make it extremely difficult for us to hot route. At least we were able to right there. That play just put Austin Jennings out with an injury timeout, though. They're going to have a flat, and honestly, we got to throw this one away. We need to find a way to get into field goal range. Nick Machado isn't catching that ball. That was not placed where it needed to be at all, but they have man-to-man coverage out there, and he got in our way. We got an accurate quarterback, 95 medium throw accuracy, 95 short accuracy, and then he's not accurate. I don't want to go to overtime against LSU. We know how this is going to go, though I guess the only other option is them getting into field goal range and winning. So I do prefer that they're taking out basically the rest of the time, and we're going to be headed to overtime. We're going to back everybody up here. They hand it off. And there's no way they won off of that. I was trying so hard to avoid getting into this situation, but we're an OT. Most important part is the coin toss. They win the toss, so we're starting on offense. I absolutely despise overtime games, especially on the road. There's just so much pressure, but this is a good start for us. Austin Jennings is going to be pulled out after that play, though, which means running it's not going to be as effective. On 2nd and 12, I don't even know what routes are really out there because of the Stadium Pulse, but we find Bickley, and we're in the end zone. After seeing some of the catches they were making on us to end this game, nothing would make me feel better than us closing this out. We get it. We get it with the freshman. It's over. He has done it again. He's got straps on him. We're leaving Death Valley with the win. And that is all that we were hoping for. We were in control there at the end, and we almost blew it, but it's good. Of all the players on our defense, Carlos Haddad might be the future of it because he's got so much room to grow. We could actually max out his quickness if we really wanted to, which is incredible. And most importantly, we overcame the computer doing everything they could to beat us. 221 yards on the ground out of Austin Jennings. That was a beautiful sight to see, but we're out on Joshua Drake. He's gone to Georgia at this rate. We might be able to get the 5-star free safety box specialist, so I'm expecting Theo to not be as fast, which is unfortunate, 86 speed. And then David Vincent, we're just not going to have our playing style correct, which is extremely frustrating, but Deshaun Adams still considering us, and Miami's about to take this kid away. It's like if we didn't have to compete with Miami for some of these prospects, which I don't know how they're winning some of these battles, it really comes down to our school grades not being perfect on all of them. They have a little bit better of a pipeline too. Without them in the way, we'd definitely be taking home some much better classes, but there are still 4-star defenders I think we'll be able to land that can help our future. Now that we've gotten through that absolute gauntlet of our first 5 games, what's really going to affect us the rest of this year is how we close out the season with these 7 matchups against ACC schools. Pittsburgh's going to be tough. Miami's probably going to be tough, but that's about it. There will be probably one other team in there that shocks us, gives us a good battle, but I feel like we could finish out this season with no more losses and then make the ACC Championship. At the very least, too, if we slip up and lose one more game with some of the quality wins on our schedule, I think we're a playoff team. We just can't lose 2 matches or more. It would really be great if we got back to the playoffs like we were there in seasons 2 and 3. All of it starts against Syracuse, though. This is just one of those teams that I could see throwing for like 400 yards against us. Looking at our defensive backs, I really don't know if it'll ever get better than this. Though I did notice that Micah Strickland was on there twice. Absolutely just flawless programming. I was a little confused for a second, and he should have had that pick 6. We got to be just a little bit quicker. Syracuse trying to hit us with the play action, and honestly, they're just sending it up with a prayer. I really like the way that we've come out versus them so far, though that could be a PI penalty. Luckily, ref didn't see it. It is 3rd and 10, and that's the type of pressure we want. Kevin Otis, he's been with us a long time as well. It is going to hurt to see him go in the offseason as a graduate. Let's see what we got for Syracuse offensively, though, in this game. We're going to hit Justin Devon for our first play. And I'm all for Austin Jennings having an opportunity to have another massive performance, though I needed to pitch that a lot later. I'm just so scared of fumbling it on that play. I also remember saying at some point I wanted to switch up the playbook. We should have done that. Maybe the play action's going to work for us here, just since we've started off this game running it quite a bit. I feel like we do have a little bit of extra space on him. But we didn't. It's 3rd and 11. They're going to go with some man-to-man coverage. And honestly, we were able to dust them, but I wasn't expecting Nick to bring that in. I thought one of their other guys back there was going to make a break on that ball. Look at this alignment, though. I think we have a touchdown. If not, we're going to have our curl route. You just have to look over and see where the mismatches are. Ideally, in this game, no interceptions. I know I say that every game, but this is a team that I feel like we shouldn't throw one against. We're already getting off to a pretty solid start, and there's a wide open touchdown. Well, we might just be taking our 3 here. I'm going to use play action and hopefully be able to throw this one and not catch it. Now we have to deal with a field goal at a rough angle. Are we actually going to hit this? We do. On 1st and 10, they're going back to the air. They're not even catching that. What I really want to see out of them, though, is a bubble. I'm ready for the interception. We know that they can run it, and he had no one. It is now 3rd and 10. Not getting much pressure here, but you're also not going to make it to the marker. Though, I will say, our stands are not as full as they were against Florida State. On that side behind us, there's still a lot of seats missing, which I don't like. I feel like if we only can seat so many people, we have earned ourselves a sold-out crowd of like 23,000. After that missed throw, I was expecting them to send in a little bit of a blitz here. I thought that we might be able to pull off a huge play to Jennings. We might be looking too deep down the field, though, too early on, which is why we're going to look over, find Tristan Glass, and then go straight back to the run. We can try more of that deep stuff whenever we have like a 20-point lead. The way the defense is aligned here, if we get the right blocks, this could be a huge touchdown play, though this guy's going to make it very hard to pull that one off, except Austin Jennings still finds a way. And you know what? Let's beam this ball at the cameraman. Or we're going to be kind about it. Don't drop it. Another fun little celebration you can do is you can just run straight into the cameraman and they'll fall over. I'm going to try to remember to do that in the heat of the moment this year. We had them baited out perfectly there too. I thought they were about to throw that to us. On 3rd down, I mean, their slant would have been open, but our pressure got there quick enough, and if we cut it inside, there was almost space to break it. So far, this game has gone about exactly how we wanted it to. As we get more. And we can return back to the same play that we just ran for a touchdown on. We'll see if we can hit this hole perfectly, which we do, and Austin Jennings can't even be tackled. It's so weird to me now because the run like didn't work the way I was hoping it would at the start of the season. But at the moment it is. It's like we can't do any wrong. And on 3rd and 16, I got stuck on the defensive line. They haven't been able to score any points in this game, though, so they needed something to go their way. Maybe we're just trying to keep it interesting for the fans at the moment. And this is a really big 3rd and 7. I'm actually going to play this out on our flat just because I feel like that's where we would typically give something up. That pays off for us, though they're still getting on the board. Now, I would like to think that since I've run this play quite a few times, and it normally doesn't work that well, it's not going to work 3 times in a row. But it's reminding me a lot of this strong power from last season where we had multiple breakaway touchdown runs off of it, and you know what? We might be going for another. Austin Jennings is over 100 rushing yards on 9 carries. We're going to have to make this throw with a guy in our face, but I saw that we had beat them deep, and we're getting another touchdown. I really don't think things could go any better than they currently are. It is now 3rd and 15, and they're going to try and split us over the middle. Wait, he fumbled it. He fumbled it. We're going to take that. Looks like they're about to send in a blitz, so we're going for some more points before the end of this first half. Austin Jennings isn't about to get another breakaway touchdown. Why didn't he block that kid? These lazy receivers, man, sometimes they just don't pick up something that would really help the team out. I don't love an idea of scrambling with Darren Moody, but he gets us to the 3. Syracuse is just getting blown out in this one. They are going to stop the run there, but I thought our RPO would get us in. And I really don't want to settle for 3, so we're going to take our slant and fall over. This has truly just been an embarrassing game from their perspective. Like, look over there at Austin Jennings. I don't know who is supposed to be guarding him, but they just didn't line up to get on him. After that drop, they drive down the field and get a field goal out of it, but that's about it. We're running with Alexander Bean. Though with that run ending the third quarter, it's not just great news. See, throughout that third quarter, there was a moment where Darren Moody broke his collarbone. And that means we're not just back to leaning on Alexander Bean in a couple of formations. No, he's going to be our offense again. He is going to be running things for us until we get our star QB back from injury. On third down, that's not enough. The benefit to having Alexander out there, though, is with his 94 speed and some decent blocks, we should come close to the end zone. But that news in this game has just ruined it for me after I was really excited with the way things were going for us. We'll see how it affects the rest of this season. Our halfback screen doesn't get us in. Syracuse should have played this well in the first half because then this game would actually be close, but eventually we find our way. From there, that's basically going to be the end of this one. Another great day from Austin Jennings. And we're even going to pick up Theo Shell, the 5-star free safety, which is great, but I don't want to get too excited about this because we lost our star quarterback. Like, even though we lost Joshua Drake, we made so many signings this past week that we were really hoping for. As you can see, we got some of the 4-stars as well. Of course, JT McNutt eventually chose Miami. But I just can't get over the fact that Darren Moody's out for the next 7 weeks, and it could be a little bit longer than that, maybe a little bit shorter. We'll end up finding out. Basically, though, for the rest of the regular season, we're not going to have him. We only have 6 games left on our schedule with 1 bye week, so the soonest he's most likely going to return is if we somehow made the conference championship during our bowl game or during the playoffs. It'll really just depend how the rest of the year goes. Can Alexander Bean as a senior come back in after we disrespected him and benched him and carry this team to a 10-2 record, 11-1 record? Is he going to be capable of taking down one of the undefeated teams in ACC play, Pittsburgh, this week? Or is he going to fold and we're just going to watch this Panther season fall apart? I really did want to switch up the playbook. Now I'm just kind of scared to. At least with the one we're using, I know what I'm comfortable running. On 1st and 10, we're going to have the bubble wide open. I thought I was hitting the bubble there. Clearly I wasn't. So not the best way for this one to open up. It is pretty much just looking like a 3 and out, but we're going to have Nick Machado open with his corner route, and that's not an inaccurate pass. Some of you might say that we gave up too quickly on Alexander Bean, which is a real possibility. He threw 3 interceptions against Cal where we got smoked, and I said we're never using him again. I still feel like that was the right decision, but in no means does it make him a bad quarterback. So far in this one, he's been pretty money for us. I should have probably thrown that slant, but it is what it is. They're going to have someone out there to make the tackle. And we'll see what we go with on 3rd and goal. Tight end's going to be open. Nick Machado does it again. He seriously carried that drive for us. They're going 5 wide, and we're going to be able to bait them into an interception. We just became a masturbator. That is how you open up a game against the number 6 team in the country on the road. Hit a little RPO action as well. See if we can get more. This is exactly what we needed if we were going to take down a team like the Panthers. Though, come on, guys. I almost feel like it's best to only stick with inside zones if we want our blocking to look something like that. Anytime we have somebody that needs to do a little bit of a pull block, it just isn't working out well. On 2nd and 6, we're going to get the pitch off, which is something that we used to not be able to do quick enough. That gets us in the end zone. We have very quickly stormed out to a lead against Pittsburgh, and they didn't. They did not just test us there. Strickland gone to the crib, and that's how you take a 21-0 lead. This is insane. Pittsburgh played so well all season. They were undefeated. They were 6-0. And now we've just come out and literally locked them down. Still have no idea how they could possibly be completing that pass there. We didn't get it. We lurked that ball with freshman Caleb Jennings, by the way. I don't know how he didn't catch it, but it's okay. We're getting it back. We're going for a big punt return. And honestly, even if we can't take this all the way, we're in a good spot. From here, we're just going to hand this one off to Austin Jennings. He can't get around everyone. It's okay, though. I was trying to go for the big play there. Now we're just going to go for splitting those cover 3 seams. Absolute dime from Alexander Bean. Come on, guys. At least give us a chance to run it well there. We're going to hopefully get another cover 3 look and just split them again. Cover 1, though, which means we'll have our comeback route. It's really looking worse and worse for Pittsburgh the longer this goes on for. Did they forget that Alexander Bean has 94 speed? he's just going to take that in easily. I just can't believe how quickly we were able to pull away from Pittsburgh, and now they're forcing it on a 3rd and 17, which we should have grabbed. Can you imagine being a Panthers fan thinking that you're about to watch like the game of the week, and then this is how they open it up? I just don't see how they'd even be able to overcome this deficit, though. Throwing it straight at them into an interception off of our back foot, yeah, that is one way to get them right back into this game. The hardest thing for me is to continue to play normal, even when we're in such a good position. I mean, they're just trying to give it back to us. Come on. Do not give them bailouts like that. They came out here and played so poorly. We're still going to pretty much close things up with this first half, especially if we get a huge run out of beans. They're trying to keep themselves in it. I just don't see it happening for them. Do we have that outer edge? Not really. As long as we get a field goal at the minimum here, we're going to be okay. Though I think Nick Machado is going for his 2nd touchdown. We'll just hand this ball off to Austin Jennings. Are you kidding? I'm like 99% sure our offensive lineman just completely blocked us there from scoring. I can't believe it. If it happens 2 times in a row, there's going to be a problem. We're short. I don't care. We're going for it on 4th and goal. Let's just end this half getting stopped, of course. We started so strong that this game should basically already be over. Instead, they're completing a huge pass, and I will not be blowing my first 28-0 lead in this series. Though, does anyone want to bring him down? 3rd and 1, I bet they go straight back to him, and we're ready to stop the run. Let's get them off the field here and ruin any chance that they feel like they have of coming back. We're sitting on it. We're sitting on it. Perfect. For a split second there, I was starting to get a little bit nervous. We had to cut that one back if we wanted a chance at going all the way. But keeping it on the ground hasn't been the best thing for us through most of this second half. We are already 20 carries deep, and Austin Jennings only is like 60 yards. Either way, we're still taking off a good amount of clock, and that's so much PI going on. I should have never thrown that in the first place anyway. But I assumed he would have eventually just cleared the defender, and we could have had a first down. We'll take our 24-point lead. As we get into this 4th quarter, we still have a 24-point lead against them as well. It's about to be 3rd and inches. If they hand this off, they're going to have a first down. If they try to go for an RPO, though, I guess handing off doesn't work either. Perfect. 4th and 4. I'm not sticking on that slant, unfortunately. But they need so much to still go their way. It's just really hard to believe this is the number 6 team in the country. They don't play like it. On 3rd and goal, they had a motion out, and then they threw it backwards for 5 yards. That just makes no sense to me at all. And look at the pressure. That is going to do it. They're never going to see the ball again. Just a very boring second half, honestly, from both teams. The way that we're playing has definitely influenced the players on our team and not wanting to transfer. We knew that John Shakir was going to be gone no matter what at the end of the season, and then for these running backs, I guess we got to get them out on the field more. For the past couple seasons, though, we keep on getting running backs in the transfer portal that are better than what we have on this roster, so I almost don't care to please these kids. With that win over Pittsburgh, we have moved ourselves into the top 5, which is good news. If we can just maintain this spot, I think we're going to be solid. I keep looking back at our schedule, and SMU gave us a huge battle last year. I know that Miami is probably going to be tough as well, but after that, we should be able to at least handle Georgia Tech and Boston College. These next few weeks really determine everything for us, so I think we should pull out the Vice jerseys. Now, I am not squeezing back into my Vice jersey at the moment, but we will end up getting back into it if we end up going far in the playoffs at any point the rest of this dynasty. And even though this is going to be a night game, I can tell it's not a sold-out crowd. They really got to fix that. The stadium atmosphere should be able to rise. 400 passing yards? Oh no, DeMarcus Coco might actually be a real problem. They're already out there in this weird formation as well. I'm ready to pick it off, but they have a completion. And I am just now remembering why I couldn't stand playing against SMU. They run the veer and shoot, which is going to cause us issues. At least Jaden Woods was able to get in there. They're really not ever going to run the ball. I mean, I'm always set up for the pass. If they wanted to hand it off, they could probably get a pretty sizable gain. Not on that first drive, though. We got our stop, and now we're cutting it back to this side of the field. We're trying to spin out of there. Unfortunately, we got caught, but look at the season Jennings is having. If we could get some more touchdowns with him, he might be able to put his name into the Heisman race. It'd be the first time any player on our roster had been able to do something like that. And here we go. Big play, potential already, but he can't break free. What I really want to see out of him is just finishing off drives for us in this game. Lots of touchdowns. And I will say, I have been impressed with his ability to stay on the field for us. We really haven't had to use our backups much. That is why they're so upset about the playing time that they're not getting. We're about to be at the 5. And I know this is not going to set up great for us to run through, but we can fight. I will gladly go straight back to that and truck our way in. That caused an injury timeout for Austin Jennings, though. We're going for a quarterback sneak on 4th and inches, and they stopped us. You just can't make this up, man. They're not getting a safety either. They were actually able to get us off of the field Hang on. There it is. There it is. What a play from Ty Cordova. He has been starting since a freshman, and I can never say that he was the best player out there. But he has been able to do some stuff like that. What is this coverage that they're giving us? No shot. I was off of our back foot. I backed up too far. That should have been a touchdown. I just couldn't believe the look we were seeing. I guess we're going to be able to feed Bickley and prove to him that he can get playing time now. Definitely not going to be as easy for us to run the football with him out there, but it looks like he was open. Yeah, that shouldn't have been caught. I needed to throw that ball sooner. On 3rd and 9, I know you all see the size mismatch. There's just no way. If we have a 92 overall receiver and we're 6'5" on that type of corner, we need to catch it. It is what it is, though. They're just going to try and get some big plays. Our defense isn't falling for that, though. We didn't bite. On 3rd and long, it's another sack. I'm really hoping that next week Austin Jennings is back. I can't imagine using both a backup halfback and quarterback. This is the type of stuff that really just hurts our offense, and yeah, we're not getting anything. 3rd and 8 now. We knew that cover 3 was going to be there, but we're going to have to go for an aggressive catch, and we're not hanging on. It was match coverage, so neither of our seams were going to get open there. I was running man-to-man press, by the way. Both of our guys just got backed up on, but it doesn't matter because we've gotten another interception with Strickland, and he just made it in. Micah Strickland is saving this one for us, especially since we're not playing well on offense. And I still can't believe how many great defensive players we've been able to go through during this series. Unfortunately, SMU's about to find their way back in because no one seems to be able to tackle. We might have run cover 2 one too many times. So here we go. It's 3rd and 9. They're probably going to want that slant, and we just let him throw it straight over our head. This is going to be an absolute battle if they start playing like that on offense. We're getting a huge run out of Emmanuel Bickley, though, finally. It was about time. He is going to get his playing time as well. That will make it so he doesn't transfer out. I did call him the wrong name, though, so when coach doesn't even know your name, that can also contribute to wanting to leave the school. A little bit disrespectful to Emmett there. At least I know that this is Jalen Rainbow, and if that's not his first name, we're in trouble. Emmett Bickley back out there for 2nd and 4. We're just going to hope that there's a lane to take. There really wasn't. We shouldn't have gotten a first. It is what it is, though. On a 2nd and 10, I see what I want to see. 6'5" on like 5'8". He deflected. I guess we'll just try to split the seam on 3rd and 10 and go for a touchdown here. It's so far off target. And so this is another drive that is just not going to end the way that we want. To make matters worse, after a huge run, you see where they're at on the field, and I thought he caught that. That would have been absolutely ridiculous. I would have felt so cheated, though we're not going to be able to knock that loose. You know, it seems like they're going to show us a man-to-man coverage look here. They didn't. They were showing a little bit of blitz, though, so we'll get it out to Tristan Glass. On our next play, we're going to go for a huge run, and the QB draw works wonders. At some point, you just can't care what the outcome is going to be, and he's going to get over to that ball. That's so annoying. It's so annoying, but he should have been able to get there anyway. We had the tight end beat, and we just couldn't get it there quick enough. Now they're going to be able to take off and run, probably take a lead before the end of this first half. Can we crack him? No. No, we just missed tackle after tackle. I already know how this game's going to end up going, but Ty Cordova, can we just catch the ball? I know he's like a 75 overall, but that would have been sweet. It's now 3rd and 1. They're chewing clock because they don't want us to see it again, even though we'd probably just throw them an interception, and we're going to make that tackle. DeMarcus Coco gets injured. They got the backup quarterback out there, so they're simply just handing it off. And for whatever reason, they've decided they're going to start calling some timeouts. They've given us a great chance to respond back. On 3rd down, all we have to do is wrap up here. And this is definitely better than giving up a touchdown to end the first half, especially since I thought they were going to miss. We're going to go for a deep play here. And honestly, we have the size mismatch. I don't know if he can catch that, though. We got 2 6'5" receivers over there trying to take this defense deep. We can throw that right over those zones. But it's another drop. You're seeing why I went away from Alexander Bean. Let's just send it. Let's just send it and pray for the best. If we were going to get points to end this first half, we needed a big play. They're going to run out the rest of the clock. And let's get started with our more calm offense here in the 3rd quarter. Lots of RPOs. That's what we got to do. Everything else has been a mess. I just haven't really been that locked in. Where did he come from? Where did that kid come from? I can't deal with this again. He was sitting there hiding behind the ref. I knew at some point I'd have a game where I just played really badly. But you combine that with the fact that we have lost our starting quarterback and running back, and it is setting up for us to get upset at home by SMU. It is honestly a miracle that we're currently in this one even. I mean, without that pick 6, we wouldn't be. And I will run back this bubble pop play, except I am not throwing the bubble this time. Actually, I threw the bubble. I meant I'm not throwing the streak. because Justin Devon gets us 20. I know exactly where I want to go with every one of these before we actually even run it. On 2nd and 8, we're going to go for just a drag route over to Nick. We haven't fed him much. And do we trust the run on 3rd and 1? I felt like we didn't really have much of an option. I'll take it. Could have been much worse than that. That's for sure. I just don't know how many more times I can mix in stuff like this RPO. I mean, we've run this a lot. And I'm expecting them to eventually pick up on it. Though, if this is placed well, we'll have a first. That throw makes me extremely nervous, though. Breaking tackles, we'll take it. We might honestly have Jordan Yeboah here as well, just because I know that he's got a good enough route running and catching to hang on. The 2-point conversion, though, this is more important to me than anything else. We're waiting to go underneath. Absolutely flawless execution on that drive, but they're about to get a decent run. Greg Higgins is literally averaging 6 yards per carry, but they've only gave it to him 10 times in this matchup. I don't know how we're supposed to get to that ball before them, and we cut everything off. That felt great. On 2nd and 17, though, I pass committed, and that's going to lead to a big run. I told you all, with the amount of times that we pass commit, it's eventually going to cost us. There's no way they should be getting the first down there. And I'm not even catching that punt, though it almost stopped at the 1. We have about an entire quarter still left in this game, so this is very far from being over. Unfortunately, Emmett Bickley just went out with an injury timeout as well, which means we are down to our 3rd string running back. I really should have just taken one of those drags. We're going to go for the slant on 3rd down. Blind reads like that are always terrifying, though Emmett Bickley is back out there to start the 4th. I don't love it's about to be 3rd and 12. If they run cover 2 man to man, I don't think we would have had this, but they obviously were not in cover 2. I thought they were going to have safety help over the top and they were about to hold us. Instead, we have moved it down the field, and a touchdown would seriously be so massive, which is going to come a little bit closer. I have not pulled out a quarterback blast in this game, so I'm expecting that we should be able to easily get the first down. Unless they were deep into studying film, they had no idea that it was coming, and we have a wide open touchdown to Jalen Rainbow as we go up by 10 points. That play was absolute money for us. We'll see if they end up testing us or if they're just going to scramble. We can hit hard. We are willing to fly in there and try and take some heads off, though I don't even know how we would have stopped that. If they hit us with an RPO, you know where we're going to be. We broke off, covered multiple routes there, got our 5th sack of the day, and honestly, yeah, if they test that, they should have it. That is a hard pass to complete, though. On 3rd down, they're going to have to go short, and we got guys all around there. It looks like they're going for it on 4th down. It's going to just be a 50-50 ball. All we have to do is swat here, and that's how you don't get agged. I have been told that's what I need to do instead of just always going for the interception, which does make some sense there. All we had to do was get them off of the field, and the reverse actually worked just because 47 was extremely slow. SMU's burning timeouts as well. One more first down is going to seal this game. That'll take us to 7-1 on the year. And are we going to be able to get that with Jalen Rainbow? We came pretty close. They would get us to a 4th and 2, but I feel like we should be able to finish it off. And even though that we didn't, they have done absolutely nothing with it. We're going for the pick at the end of the game. And it's just like, it's just tiring. Should I have probably swatted there? Maybe. Maybe then we get the animation on it. But instead, they have a chance. This would be the greatest comeback in college football history if we didn't catch it. But guess what? We're still going to survive. That's game. It was an absolutely horrendous offensive performance, especially in the first half. We lost our star running back. But John Shakir set the ACC career sacks record, which makes me wonder, who did he play for before us? He transferred from UCLA, so is that saying the ACC sacks record was at 9.5? That cannot be right. It should not be calculating it as his total career sacks, since UCLA is not a part of our conference. I mean, that definitely wouldn't fly for a record book, ever. It's just little stuff like that. Like, how did that slip through? How is it not polished out there? That's the type of stuff that bugs me. Looking at our class, though, we did end up picking up a 4-star free safety, and then David Vincent, he was on a visit. We still couldn't jump up to number 1, so we're not going to get him. It's not like our hard sells are bad either. Ohio State's just better. And if we were to scroll through the rest of our board, you would see that we are currently sitting in 1st place for about every single player that's on it, but I don't know if we're going to be able to close out all of these battles. We definitely have a lot of high-rated recruits there. With 4 games left in conference play, we are in a 7-way tie for 1st place, basically. Teams like Louisville have a better conference record, but all of us have 1 loss. And that is why it is crucial that Austin Jennings is not on the injury report this week. He is still dealing with a little bit of wear and tear impact, but I do not care. We are going to need a massive game out of the junior running back because he's about to play against his former school, and he's our best part of offense. I'm also in a pretty good mood headed into this one. I just just happy birthday my way back into this girl's life, so the vibes are up. We should have no problem against the Hurricanes. Last week, it looks like Malik Cocker didn't have a great game, so maybe we'll be able to force him into some interceptions like that as well. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. I covered the bubble, but they're going to score a touchdown. You're going to ask why I dove there, and I didn't mean to. It was a premature fire. I knew I wanted to eventually try and take him down. He probably would have broke it anyway against us. Unfortunately, the vibes being up didn't even last a full minute. And there it is. You know what to expect. Alexander Bean's not going to hit an open target. We're not going to get anything here. It's going to be 3rd and 10. I'm going to look for our tight end streaking up the middle. And if he's not there, then we need to at least try and get this out. Horrendous start to this game. Horrendous first drive. But the thing is, it's early. And when it's early, you can come back and get interceptions to put you back in it. What did I tell you about the freshman? He is not going anywhere. He might be our best defensive player 4 years from now, if he doesn't transfer. Gotta love when Carlos Haddad makes plays like that. Now, we can comfortably go back to running. I'm also going to hit them with a taste of their own medicine. This is the play that scored against us, so we did it too. We're going to continue with the RPOs here. I hate myself. He was engaged on the line. He literally was engaged on the line, and then he just jumped back and caught it. Never mind, I just got baited harder than I've ever been baited before. Seems like this game's going to be full of a lot of turnovers, and I thought we were about to get that one. We might actually get a bubble here, though. I was way too far guarding it. We have to bait the quarterback better there. We have to make him think that it's open. Does no one want to guard the slant? I guess I could route commit. I'm about to figure out how to do that on this next play. This is something I've not really explored, but if we route commit inside, is that going to make these guys actually play those underneath balls? Because if it does, that's massive. Shading underneath alone is just not doing the job for us. They've sent it up, and that's something that we can snag. We got 2 turnover-hungry quarterbacks going at it back and forth. It's almost like they're competing with each other to see who can play worse. Even though it's early, I do think it's time that we break out a huge run with Alexander Bean as well. It didn't work. Typically, that plays like a 20-yard gain, and I was hoping for man-to-man coverage, but we should be taking off with Alexander Bean more often with his speed. I can't believe throughout this series, I've gotten so accustomed to just sitting back there. Nick Machado, able to get us like 20 yards. And there's not much running of the football going on at the moment. They're going to try and run some man-to-man coverage, which almost worked. I threw that prematurely, and if we put this over his head, he can't get a hand on that. It is what it is, though. We'll just run a read option on 3rd down, and it's going to lead to a huge play. You know, we've not run those all season, but with Alexander Bean out there, we should be good to start doing it again. His speed is the one benefit to having him out there over our normal starter. Oh, no. Oh, no. There's just no way that he deflects that off of his shoulder pad. He had that angle locked down. I don't even want to watch it back, so we're not going to. We're just going to try and get in our defensive stop. This has been an emotional roller coaster so far. Every single part about this game. I came into this one so pumped up. On 3rd and 1, I was going to run commit. We hit the end of the first quarter, though, and then they just got the first down. There's always a time in the season where our offense just starts to stall out a bit more. Coming against Miami, though, is really the worst time for that to happen. But Ty Cordova does not care. He's not fast enough to take that back to the crib. You think I care, though? We're back in this game. And what are we doing? Are we going to come out and run the football? Absolutely not. We're going to run 4 verticals, and then we're going to let Jennings get loose against his former team. This is even setting up to be a touchdown run for him, just based off of where their defense is currently sitting at. I wanted to get that look again. We got a stretch play this time, see if that makes any bit of a difference, and they're going to be able to catch him. He's not getting that much. On 3rd and 5, this play is honestly perfect. You always end up having this delay route that just cooks against the defense. We should be able to just punch it in from here, and we do. With us right back in this game now, I would honestly prefer if we just wipe the first quarter out of our memory. Maybe part of the second quarter too. Anything you saw from me, it didn't happen. You're imagining it. And why is he running like that? We'll put a quarterback contain on him, but he should have had a first down there. I'm not complaining though. 3rd and 5, ready to guard the slant. Out route is there. And so is his underneath throw. But fortunately, because our coverage stats have gotten better, we actually stuck with them long enough to make the tackle there. And now we're going to see if Cahill can cut to the outside and get us like all the way to the 40. After starting this drive with an inside zone that didn't do very much, I'm going to try the stretch one final time. But it's just not working against the Hurricanes. Miami's prepared to stop it. and thankfully, we were able to get out our check down quick. We're also going to hit them with a little bit of play action just to see if anything gets open late. We're going to have to make this catch ourselves. I can't believe they were able to stick with our best receiver for that long, but it's okay. It is third down again already, and this time, we have to go down quick. That catch does not work any other way, but I'm not sure we're going to finish off this drive with a touchdown. They should have picked that. They literally could not have played that ball better. It was very hard for me to tell if anyone was open there or not. We're going to sit in the pocket. Never mind, I guess we're not. We'll just hand this football off and not get much. Honestly, I think what's best here is we either look for a huge touchdown against them, which I could have forced, or we just throw it away. We'll use Wade Shaw to take our field goal, get a 3-point lead at the end of this first half, and that kick better be far enough. I think it is. I am a little bit stressed because I feel like we could have put them away in the first. We played well enough defensively to at least, but there were just way too many mistakes offensively. And look at this gaping hole for Jennings. They can sit out there. They can try to play our RPO all day, which they've now done twice. But then we're just going to run for gains like that, and there's not much of a hole here. On 3rd and 1, I really think we should just be throwing Tristan Glass, but if they're not going to commit to the run, if they're going to stay back, we'll hand it off. I got no problem with doing that. We're going to have Nick Machado on the next one. And what are the odds that with this halfback base that our lineman actually gets in our way instead of helping? Hey, it worked out pretty well. Solid start to this quarter so far. I feel like we should be able to hit Yeboah. I freak out there, though, because we have seen far too many overthrows with Alexander Bean that have led to some turnovers for us. I really just want the first down there. We might keep this as well because 94 speed in the open field is dangerous. He's actually our fastest runner on this roster at the moment, and we'll take another first down. Now, I will say, if you look at Austin Jennings' wear and tear, it's starting to pick up, but I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to continue to feed him the rock and watch him work. It might be time to actually sub in our backup running back, though. It looks like Bickley can be our 3rd down back here. We'll go for an RPO, and then the next play, we're going to get him out of there. We just can't completely burn him out before the end of this game. Our blocks were so good that now I'm going to remember, run into the cameraman, just knock him over. Come on, Nick Machado. What a drive that was, though. We've put ourselves up by 2 possessions, and they did it. They did it. They thought that Micah Strickland was sorry. They throw it straight to him, and we're going to get a touchdown. He jumps over the cameraman, runs over to the fans, and where's he at? Talk about the most impressive part of that play, though. The reflexes from this cameraman to make sure he didn't get hit there. And I'm going to be honest, I think this game is over after getting them on a 3rd and 17. There's just no way that they should be able to convert. It truly might have been our worst offensive start to this game, but ever since then, things have been going our way, and I thought we had it. I really thought that we were about to take that one for a tutty. With all this running, I'm gonna pull out a play action just to see if it can work. I guess we shouldn't be getting too comfortable yet, but we were just breaking that kid's ankles to get open. Headed into this 4th quarter, we're just going to be looking to pick up some huge runs. Emmett Bickley is going to get the playing time that should keep him from transferring. And let's put the Hurricanes away here. Quarterback draw, nobody ready to stop Alexander Bean. I will give them a little bit of credit. They have driven down the field pretty well since that moment, but he dropped it. And if they are not able to get a touchdown out of this drive, then there's no way they come back. They threw that one right over our head there, though. They're not going to run it. They're actually going to try and pass it. It doesn't work. And all we have to do is scoop up this onside kick, which we do. We're going to go back to running out clock. The best part about all of this is if I see that they're backed off there, we should be able to complete the pass on those RPOs. And I've been thinking, if the blocking on this counter is always so tight, what would happen if we used a smaller running back like Emmett on him? We finally had one that didn't get all messed up there. That was actually really refreshing to see, though it's Rainbolt that's out there now. And I'm going to give the Guns Trips tight end counter one more shot to see if the blocking always looks that good. Nope, it unfortunately doesn't. 3rd and 11, we're just going to go to our halfback angle route, come close. And with an 18-point lead, field goal doesn't do that much for us. We're going for max disrespect. A touchdown, even though I had someone wide open. I don't want to hear about that one in the comments. I saw a running back wide open after I already made the throw. I think Austin Jennings should be pretty happy with the game that he just had against his former team. He didn't rush for that many yards on the ground, but he did have 49 receiving yards too. 130 total yards is a good bit. Alexander Bean has set the FIU career rushing touchdowns record. I can tell you right now, I was not expecting that one to go to him, but he's had 28 throughout his time here. I am happy to say we've picked up another 4-star cornerback back. These are the players that we really need if we're going to keep rebuilding this roster. But like I said, we're going to lose David Vincent to Ohio State. There's nothing else I can do. It looks like it only took 1 week, though, for us to be in the running for the ACC Championship, tied with Louisville and Florida State. Everybody else has another conference loss, so that's great news. I just don't know what the tiebreaker ends up being. We know that we took down the Seminoles. It looks like 3 weeks. We're still expected to get Darren Moody back. I'm definitely not stressing as much about losing Jennings, and all we have to get through is 5-4 North Carolina, and then 2 road games at Georgia Tech, who's 3-6, and Boston College, who hasn't won a single game. I feel like if any of these are really going to test us, it's going to be this week against the Tar Heels. I would really hope not in front of our fans at Pitbull Stadium, though, and there's no way they have the balls to start this game with an RPO. They do, and it just went through our player. It's fine, though. We are all over that type of stuff. I have definitely left someone far more open than I should have there. I have no issue with putting a quarterback contain out there if he's going to want to run more, and that was out of our reach. I'm telling you right now, if you're not usering the slot corner, then you're not winning. I feel like without usering this spot, we would get so many less defensive stops. And headed into this one, I didn't realize how few receiving yards that Jordan Yeboah had. If I had to guess, Nick Machado is probably our leading receiver again. Though this is just disrespectful. Surely one of our 2-star receivers is going to be able to just run straight by one of these corners. You really can't press both of them, and let's say that it's an underthrow or they don't end up getting around. Well, they're both 6'5", so they're going to have a pretty good chance at winning the jump ball anyway. Tristan Glass gets in. He was the key to our success on that drive there. That was an awful pass. I've actually decided on 3rd down, we're going to drop our defensive tackle back into coverage as well, and yeah, we gave up a wide open receiver there. That was a good read. Probably wasn't our best idea whenever it comes to getting pressure to only sending 3. But it's all good on 2nd and 5. It's out of reach again. One of these days, we're getting a pick 6. North Carolina gets the touchdown they were hoping for, though. We go for a tight end screen that doesn't get that much. And do we think that Bush ends up being able to make a big play here now? His teammates are just not blocking for him the way that he needs. But I will say, I am pretty disgusted with that spot. I didn't even fight for it or reach for it because I didn't want to risk fumbling. I thought we clearly had the 1st down there. Apparently we didn't, so we had to punt. It's still early on in this game, so it's not something we can get too upset about. It's really not the end of the world, though I would have loved to get a pick there, and we'll take a pick with Micah Strickland. Even when I'm not using him, he is still finding ways to make plays on the ball. What an absolute monster. They're not sticking with the drag. There's just no way Tristan Glass wasn't getting open. He's already at 81 receiving yards, and he's looking to go for over 100. I also probably shouldn't say this, but Alexander Bean has currently completed 100% of his passes. I would like to keep that up in this 2nd quarter, where I thought rolling out could be our best move, but it probably isn't. They had 2 guys so prepared for us to scramble that we were never going to pull that off. They weren't ready here, though, as he's going to take it to the 6. Now we give it to the unit, Austin Jennings, and just let him go to work. I'm about to test out a theory, though. I read this online. They said if you just are patient, you wait like 5-10 seconds once you call the play instead of immediately quick hiking it, your run blocking is a lot better. So I think we've waited a good amount of time. We're going to hand it off, and look at that. A lot better blocking. Now, I don't know why that is or how long you have to wait, but that looks so much better. We just got to make sure to keep that in mind, especially for our next offensive drive. If they're going to get down the field this quick against us, can we bring this kid down? I should not have to teach these boys to wrap up. They should know better by now. And yeah, they're going to score again. All that we can really do is hope that he's dumb enough to force a ball straight to us. He was, but we did not get the interception. And are they going to give us the slant? Nope, he's going to scramble his way in. Okay, so what I did before this play was I waited another 10 seconds. It was a counter run, though, so we know that those normally just get blown up. This halfback direct normally works well, though, and that looked even better. I am so convinced that this is a thing. I mean, the sample size is incredibly small, but let's just see what happens. Actually, you know what? Never mind. I want to try and go for a touchdown here because I think they're going to bite on the run. Even if they didn't, we're still going to scramble for a good bit. This will just be another play where we can test it. Halfback stretch is going to lead to some huge holes for us. I'm telling you, this is a thing. If you're struggling with the run in this game, I don't know how long to tell you to wait, but it just seems like the blocking's so much better when you do. It probably has something to do with the fact that they think you're in a hurry up offense or something, and then there's punishment for that. I don't know. I'm going to have to actually shoot over a text to a dev and see if I'm just losing my mind or what. On 3rd down, we're going to break that first attempt with Bean, and he can't get out. I watched our left guard get flattened, but it didn't matter. That is why you want the extender ability on your QB. On the first play of North Carolina's last 2 drives, though, they've had like 30-yard gains. So my real worry as time winds down in this first half is what they were going to do here. I think they're just going to take this one to halftime. They had a lot of guys blocking here, and that's going to put them at midfield. But I have yet to give up a Hail Mary on this game. I don't expect to give one up here. Are you serious? Why would you not throw it to the end zone? It's like for as many steps forward as the AI has taken to get smarter, then they do stuff like that. We do get the ball to start the second half, by the way, so I'm hoping that we can do a lot with it. We're going to pick up the block there, and Austin Jennings with the direct snap is just gone to the crib. We're running straight towards the camera. We want to show these guys that we can beam it at his head. Imagine thinking that you're about to get a sick close-up shot, and then you just get a football beamed directly at you. It's the greatest celebration in this game. They are shredding our defense, though. What was Small doing there? I know he's not one of our best players. He was in his deep half, but he just got, like, so turned around. He's going to make mistakes, though, and I'm not going to bench him for it. We're going to go for the pick. Come on, give it to us. 2nd and 10. Nothing underneath. Don't even try it. We have a hard flat on that kid. Does not seem to matter. They're going to motion over someone on 3rd down. They won't throw it. And they are not going for the field goal either. I actually really like this. We got a quarterback contain out there, but we didn't have a quarterback spy. We really should have gotten them off of the field. They get us with the RPO. And what did I say? Of the last teams on our schedule, North Carolina was the one that I feared the most. We waited a little bit before this snap just to see if the blocking lined up better. I feel like it's the pursuit that's worst for the defense, if anything. I don't know if it's the blocking itself, just because I saw someone get completely caught up. He normally would have probably shot right through there and gotten to us like that. Because we tried to go for a touchdown and use play action on this drive, we have to pick up this 3rd down. We put ourselves in a bad spot where they were close to getting a stop and could have potentially scored a touchdown to take the lead against us. On 2nd and 8, we got Emmett Bickley out there, which means I'm not opposed to throwing it. I can't believe that we've had to escape the pressure like this, though, and it's not worth forcing it. That's another tip I've picked up. Each play comes with its own set pass protection. This one's the base, so it's fine. But if you don't get the base pass protection, you might want to change it. I'm literally just going to hand this one off on 4th and inches. We got a gaping hole to go through. And please give us some man-to-man coverage. I guess this works. We're going to have a wide open Austin Jennings. Although we necessarily haven't been able to pull away in this game, I feel like we've had a lot of control. I don't know what happened to our zones before that play call, though. I did not like what I saw, and this is the first time I'm seeing that glitch in weeks. It looks like the bug might still be in the game, which is disappointing. I thought they fixed it. All you have to do is make sure that your cornerback matchups are just set to normal on balance. What happens is the game will automatically randomly sort them by speed, and if you don't change the setting back, then you have to go in there and like adjust it. I don't know why that is, but it hasn't happened to us until there, so I guess they've made it happen less. I'm not sure. It caused us to lose a couple games, though, early on in this dynasty that were extremely frustrating. But I don't think it's going to cost us here now that I can catch it. We got them on a 4th and 13. They have no choice but to go for it. They're trying for verticals, and they couldn't even get it out. We're really just trying to run out the rest of this clock against them. Emmett Bickley is going to bounce around, and I think he's going to get a touchdown for himself. That puts us up by 17 and in a much better spot. I subbed him in for Jennings to close this one out. I just didn't like the wear and tear damage that we were dealing with. I can't believe they just tried to get that to work, and guess what? It did, because I can go for the swat. I'm so used to Ty Cordova giving up plays like that, though. You would think that we'd find someone better. I guess we'll just look in the transfer portal again, see what we can find. Not exactly looking forward to this 3rd down where we need a lot of yards, but we're going to be able to complete the pass, and this should pretty much do it. North Carolina just shifted their line right before the play, like they knew I was going that direction. Crazy adjustment there, but I think that's the 4th time we've run the play, so that time they picked up on it a little bit better. We're still going to get the 1st down. That gets us one step closer to the playoffs. We are also having a huge rushing game out of Austin Jennings. I don't know how I didn't realize he had that many yards, but Alexander Bean continues to put himself in the career FIU record book. The real question is going to be, though, what do we do whenever Darren Moody comes back from injury? I think you all know my answer. We could try and really do a 2-quarterback rotation, have Alexander Bean out there for more rushing plays, more options, but we'll most likely still lean on Darren. Consistently sitting up there in the top 3 is really a great great feeling. I just don't know if we're going to be in the ACC Championship. I really couldn't tell you what this tiebreaker is. I think because we didn't face Louisville, it has to be our head-to-head record against all common opponents versus theirs. It's pretty hard to track, but we beat Florida State, so we should be fine there. We now have 10 commits on our board, though I don't know about the rest of these guys. Like, unfortunately, Carl Wells no longer wants us. If we're going to win him back over, I guess we're just going to have to throw the ball a lot to our tight ends in this game. And if you can remember our matchup against Georgia Tech last year, we just fully dominated them. I think it was 28-3, and we just didn't do anything after halftime. We came out strong, we put them away early, and that was that. I'm hoping to do the same type of thing in this game. If they run the ball, I think we're going to be able to get straight in there, and we do. All I'm hoping for is Austin Jennings continues to put in the work. Potentially putting his name into the Heisman race. I think it's too late in the season for him to really win it, but we did not hit that hole well. We're going to try to throw the ball on second down and get it to Nick Machado. Like I said, I want to be able to go after that 4-star tight end, so we need to make sure our playing style actually fits his. It's not going to, though, if we get like no yards out of that. On second down, we get a little bit closer. That makes it a 3rd and 8, and I think we're going to have our halfback angle route wide open to Austin Jennings, who almost had breakaway speed. Either way, we're cooking with this first drive. We're pulling it on the read option, and I should have gone to the outside. We might have been able to get into the end zone. Instead, though, Austin Jennings takes it in right here. And if we run up to those fans, we can stunt in their face or just hit a little dance. I really am trying to close this one out early, which is going to be a lot easier to do after we get another pick 6. I just can't get over how good Micah Strickland's been for us. I guess it kind of makes sense. We're doing everything we did last year. And even though we no longer have Dakota Fields, Micah Strickland's actually even faster. He might not get as many interceptions as Dakota did, but he is able to finish off more plays than Dakota could. And they might be in cover 3 here, but I think they're going to go cover 1. If they don't, what we're going to do is we're going to roll out. We're actually going to playmaker, and then we're going for a bigger play. That was rough offense, though. I was just trying to get up 21-0 as quick as we possibly could. Stiff arm one kid off of us. Really could not ask for a better start in this game, and Nick Machado's going to get caught up too. That is unfortunate. On 3rd down, I'm going to go back in his direction. It wasn't open. I should have just been patient and taken the comeback route, but it's okay. We got no respect for the Yellow Jackets anyway. We just went for it on probably the longest 4th down we've attempted. These shadows in the second quarter, definitely not my favorite. It's a little bit harder to see the field, but we got Nick Machado again, and he can't get around him. It's really just all about continuing to feed our tight ends. This is what's going to increase that playing style. We should be going up 21-0 pretty soon here. Though, did we get enough? We didn't. It's 3rd and inches now, and I have waited hoping that our blocking would be better here. But it wasn't. We're going to go with a direct quarterback snap, just running it back, seeing if we can get into the end zone. That didn't get us enough, so now we'll go with a halfback direct snap and cut it to the outside. That is just another touchdown for us. Halfback screen on 3rd down. They don't get enough. And it is not looking good for Georgia Tech. On 3rd and 4, I actually think we might be able to hit our out route pretty quick, though we're going to have to escape the pressure here as we break 2 attempts at bringing down Alexander Bean, and he's streaking up the field. Alexander Bean is going to go almost all the way. What a play from him. He just turned a huge loss into basically a touchdown. There's not many guys that can do that. I know that sometimes his accuracy bugs me, but that was just incredible. We might end up fumbling away this opportunity to score, though. We're going with the speed option on 3rd and goal. I really just wanted to get the touchdown with Austin Jennings. That's 3 on the day for him already. We have started this 3rd quarter driving down the field as well. They left Nick Machado wide open. And honestly, the longer it went on, the worse it got for them. We finished at 55-0, so we continued to run up the score a little bit more in the second half than we should have. It's not like we were putting together these huge offensive drives either, though. It was working out in our favor that our defense kept forcing turnovers and putting us in good spots. Most of those yards came through our first 5 drives, and Austin Jennings has set the FIU single-season rushing touchdown record. He has also set the career rushing touchdowns record. He's been here for a season. I think we know what that means now, though. It means that he probably had some rushing touchdowns at Miami. He had these 14, and now he's going to take the record away from Alexander Bean, even though he only got 17 for us. That's actually really starting to annoy me. It's messing with our record books and history tracking. I should also point out that our playing style has been so bad that Nick Machado wants to leave our team. Apparently, he's not happy with the amount of touches he's getting. Ohio State has taken over this Heisman watch list with 3 of the players. And I can kind of understand why Nick Machado isn't happy with his playing style. I mean, last year he had a lot more receiving yards. He had more receiving touchdowns. But all I can do is continue to try and get that up. We're going after Carl Wells now that we're back in the battle, and you know we have to keep that playing style grade high. Unfortunately, for this 5-star right tackle I tried to go after at the last second, the hard sell that we do is just not going to hit. because 2 of the grades are bad, and Ohio State's running away with it, so we're going to have to remove him off our board. But there are still 4 and 5 stars that would consider our school, like edge Desmond Tabor. I don't know how we're going to be able to beat out Michigan since he's from Illinois, but we're going to try our best there. I even have like a 3-star quarterback on our board just so we can fill that position. I've kind of wrapped it up with some halfbacks and wide receivers that weren't being targeted. See if they want to come to FIU. They're most likely going to sit on the bench. I just don't know what the transfer portal is going to offer us. And take a look at both Florida State and Louisville. They have 1 more conference win, so they're still above us in the ACC standings. But we have 1 ACC game left against the Eagles, who have not won a single game this season. They're 0-11, and as long as we take care of business here, whether we're in the conference championship or not, we're going to be in the playoffs. I do remember one thing about playing Boston College from last year. They had a running back that was incredibly hard to stop. I just don't know if he's still with them. That will greatly make a difference on if this game is even close or not. Starting it off, beat our tight end. You know exactly how this is going to work. I just haven't been throwing the ball enough to them, which is a disappointment. Nick Machado won the John Mackey Award last year. I really thought I was still getting him a similar amount of looks, but I haven't been. Our identity had kind of been that we would always get our tight end a lot of great opportunities. And we're already at a pretty good position on this field. That ball was a little off target, caused us to not get as many yards there, but it's not too big of a deal to me. If they give us any match coverage or a man-to-man look, I was expecting a touchdown there. We can roll out and find Justin Devon, who will also get in. And I'm almost positive that's the same running back there. He's gonna not break that tackle. It definitely is the same guy. Jamal Heron is a name I will never forget. Though we have them on a 3rd down, you can go over to the flat, but we're gonna get there with Micah Strickland, and he has done it again. You know, he might be my favorite user of this entire series. He's taken away parts of the field. And on 3rd and 18, I don't love how much was open there, but they did absolutely nothing with that, and we're just going to go to running the football. I feel like it's going to be really hard for Boston College to even stay in this one. We're dropping back way too far before finding Tristan Glass with that drag. I just knew that we would need some time for that, and we're going to have our crosser. Maybe not the best idea in the world to drop back, though, when we can get runs like this. It also allows us to mix in some play action. Do we got man-to-man coverage? We do, and that's going to lead an open comeback route. Even though we'd lose 3 yards with our next run, I think we're going to end this first quarter in a pretty solid spot. We were able to come to that ball, and now we're going to hand it off to Austin Jennings, who's in the end zone. It really is nuts how fast this one has kind of gotten out of hand. In fact, Boston College is so unconfident in themselves that they're punting it back to us instead of being aggressive on the 40-yard line. I think we need to start saving Austin Jennings for the playoffs as well. Since we already have this much of a lead, I'm going to sub him out. It might affect how we play offensively the rest of this game, but either way, we should be able to win. It's actually been pretty refreshing. Some of our run blocking has looked incredible. Mainly has to do with Boston College just being horrendous, but we're about to take this into the end zone with ease. Just like last week, we're going to close this one out with no issues at all. Are they even going to pick up this 3rd down? No. In fact, they're hurting themselves with some of these defensive formations they're coming out in. They went with one-on-one coverage on Tristan Glass, who hangs onto the football. Now, if there was anything I cared about in the 3rd and 4th quarter, it's honestly keeping this game at a 0 score. But unfortunately, they got into the end zone there. I tried so hard to get us another shutout, but instead, we're just going to win 56-7. What I wasn't expecting on the other side of it was Tristan Glass to set the FIU career receptions record. And this season has been all about them because John Shakir has now set the career sacks record too. His is not valid though, since some of those sacks just come from other schools he was at. Austin Jennings has the single season rushing yards record. We are basically setting every single one, and we've gotten up to the #1 spot in the country for the very first time. We better make it to the conference championship. That is all I care about. We are going to be playing Florida State again. I figured we should be there. This is for a spot in the playoffs for them. Either way, we know that we're a lock. If we were to take a quick scan around the top 12, there's not really any small schools up here. Illinois, I'd love to match up against. I don't know if they're in the Big Ten championship or not. Obviously, the rest of these are pretty big. And our success is not going to win us 4-star receiver Paul Ingram. Georgia ends up having a tier 5 pipeline here while we don't have one, so our hard sell just doesn't hit the same. If I were to sit here and look through all the award finalists, I would know that Micah Strickland's probably going to take home the Bednarik Award and also the Nagurski. John Shriek's just a little bit behind him. He's looking for the 3-peat there. Austin Jennings might get the Doak Walker as well. It's just kind of important to take note of some of this stuff. We got the Lombardi with John as well and the edge rusher of the year. I want to know this before our conference championship game because like if Nick Machado has a huge performance, he might jump up to #1. As for some of the other conference championship games going on across the country, Ohio State is playing Oregon, so all their players that have been in the running for the Heisman Trophy get one one more matchup as well, and then for some of these other ones, some teams that are ranked below 12 will get into the playoffs. I'm definitely intrigued to play against Kevin Sperry again. I want to be able to force him into a lot of interceptions, something we did last season that we weren't able to do this year when we played the Seminoles. And we have already taken home Conference USA Conference Championships in this series, but this could be our first one in the ACC, which would be even more special. I really hope we don't end up losing this one. We almost got out of there on the kickoff. And just taking a look at our season stats, I'm pretty happy with how all those look. First play of the game, we're just going to let Austin Jennings go to work. And it's important to note, we finally have Darren Moody back from injury, so I feel even more comfortable throwing. I wasn't kidding about trying to keep Alexander Bean involved as well, though. That's why he's going to have a chance to get a running play going here. We're kind of hitting all of our favorite plays early on, and we're going to outrun our blocker here, unfortunately, so we don't get any extra help. It's been a solid start for us, though. We're going to cut inside to the out, and I see absolutely no reason to not keep on feeding Austin Jennings as long as he's running the football like this. They are going to have to start applying some more pressure, and when they do, all we have to do is dump it off to our tight end to get the first touchdown. FIU fans are going crazy, and this is how to open up the conference championship game. I really think that this team is special. This could be the first time that we don't lose in the playoffs. I still don't know about a championship. We saw what Clemson did to us, but I would like to at least get our first playoff win. Having our starting quarterback back, I feel like it really is a possibility. Before any worries about that, though, we still have to get through Florida State, and it kind of had me frozen on the kid I was using there. There's no way he almost got out. Carlos Haddad is out the game as well. Pounds is going to be reliant for this play. If you saw the end of season 4, what we saw in the offseason with him, you would understand why I don't necessarily want him out there on the field, but we can make that tackle. For whatever reason, this kid is wearing his pants way too low. I saw it on the menu screen. Now we can see it in game. I'm all for realism, EA, but I really don't want to see my player's V-line, so that's why I was talking about him like that. At least we got our defensive stop. Back on offense now. You know where this ball's going. He isn't running anywhere. But that is not going to be enough to discourage me from continuing to use these RPOs and run plays. We honestly might get held to a 3-and-out here. It'll really just depend on if we can get open with Clinton. I don't know why Stephen Clinton is out there, though, instead of Nick Machado. You can see he doesn't get his open. Nick Machado's not on the injury report, but he's also not on the field. This happened in last year's game as well. When players would get injured, it wouldn't pop up on the injury report, but they would literally just disappear from your depth chart. So what I'm realizing is we're going to be without our starting tight end in this game. I hope it's just a one-time thing, and that's not the rest of this season. We're going to take our drag on third down, get just enough. But we are not having a moment where we have a fully healthy team all year. I really don't want to complain, though, because we could have it much worse whenever it comes to injuries. And you know what? I think it's time to hit them with a little bit of play action. We have spent most of this game just running the football, so I knew that they'd let Tristan Glass get open. I didn't think he'd find his way into the end zone. What a start to this ACC championship, though. We're playing some of the best football we've played all year. I think we've really just found our rhythm, though if they were to hand this ball off, we're going to have to be able to fill that hole. It was wide open. We cannot make it that easy for them to just continue to cut upfield. If they do that one more time, we're just going to have to get out of the nickel 4-2-5. With this run fit, we should be able to stop it a lot better, and if they try to go to the outside here, we're going to get the interception with Micah Strickland. If he makes that read faster, it's not open, but guess what? He didn't. And I ruined a pick six. I was about to start celebrating from like 20 yards out and really be taunting them. We got a flag on this play, so the touchdown's not going to count. Never mind. It was against Florida State, 21-0 in the first or second quarter. You will never believe what I did, though. I accepted the penalty just out of habit, so now we have to do it again. I got so excited, but I am just genuinely my worst enemy sometimes. We can finally celebrate in peace. Switching up our defense was all that we had to do on that last drive. And can he fumble? The last time that we played Florida State, we were able to force it. They're going to make this first down now. And this is the drive that matters the most to me. They're going to run it. We're also getting completely juked there, but we're going to hold him up and hit him. See, I am all for it taking longer to tackle Kevin Sperry there because we want to hit him hard. No shot. I don't know why John Shakir was in coverage, but he should have held on to that football. We're not able to use everything there. And you know what? I think I've seen enough. I'm going to try and generate a little bit of pressure here, but all that we did was just leave open a wide receiver. They're starting to find some success on offense, which we knew would come eventually. I've not been running much Tampa 2, though, and they're going to be able to split our defense. Giving it back to us with about a minute and a half left on this clock, we could still score to end the half. But let's say that we don't. We have to make sure there's not that much time left in the half. So we went with play action here, and I beamed it at him. Can I make an excuse? No, that's my worst read of the season. Think about it like this, though. If I didn't get that out of my system, by the time that we get to the playoffs, I'd probably be making that read. It does kind of stink that an entire first half of playing well has basically been erased because of a couple mistakes. But I'm still kind of confident in our ability to be able to get into field goal range here. It's out of reach. We're really looking over to that left side of the field there. They got man-to-man coverage going on, and I didn't want to go to our running back. Florida State on third down is going to pretty much lock up everything. By everything, I mean the two routes that I was staring at. But assuming we get off this Hail Mary, which we should, flat-footed and everything, we could definitely catch this. It went into their hands. Little bit unlucky there, but if that bounced into ours, it was worth throwing it up. I don't mind the interception. We are on defense to start the third quarter, though, which means we're on pace to blow a 21-0 lead. I really thought we were just going to run away with this one. They picked up the blocks pretty well there. But you know what? I don't mind having to earn this, and that was a great RPO. That's the trade-off with shading underneath. If we didn't, we probably would have been able to pick it. And I don't know who Kevin Sperry thinks he is moving like that, though we went with man-to-man coverage on third down, and we might as well go for the pick. I wish we were able to catch that because now they have been able to score 17 straight. If we just go back to the stuff that works, though, running the football and also some RPOs, I think we're going to end up being all right. It is now 3rd and 8, though, and I don't think we're going to get enough with this drag. This is not a collapse that can go down in the history books. If we lose this ACC championship after starting off 21-0, I will never hear the end of it. I guess this just shows, even when we got up by so much this year, there were games that we still could have ended up fumbling away. There were a lot of teams that I literally just wrote off, though we're not going to be able to get to that ball. And because Ty Cordova doesn't know where he's at on the field, they get more. Florida State has figured things out offensively. Micah Strickland is getting in there, though, like that, and it's about to be 3rd down. Can we make a tackle? That's probably been my biggest complaint so far, is our guys just haven't been tackling them that well. To end the third quarter, though, we get a sack, and this is the 2nd time we've held them to a field goal. We seriously cannot afford to play bad in this 4th quarter. Austin Jennings felt a little slow there. All I wanted to do was cut up and take that space. We're going to hit them with a wide receiver screen, assuming that it's not guarded, and this is going to lead to some downfield blocks. That was the Alexander Bean formation. I'm going to keep it with him here as well, though they were ready to play it, and it doesn't matter. He gets 15. Another play. Never gets suggested in coach suggestions, but it's this inside zone. You get the motion beforehand. Sometimes it seems to help. On 2nd and 7, we're just going to hit our running back. I mean, no one was prepared to stop Austin Jennings. This is where we really just need him to take over and put this game away, get a direct snap to the outside. That didn't necessarily work for us, but if they send in a blitz, you know who we're throwing to, and he got a hand on it. It is a little bit frustrating. On 3rd and 14, I cannot take a big sack here. We just got to throw it away. I'm not sure where I thought I was going to throw that football. If we miss this, okay, we're good. We're good. Back to trusting our defense to lock up. If they're going to go for a run, we can try and fill that hole. We didn't do a great job of it. And please, just throw a bubble screen or something. We will be ready to get out there. I've got the press coverage. I got the guys lined up for it, but they threw it to the other side. He breaks a tackle. And here we go. 3rd and 5. I'm actually going to pinch the line just in case he does try to run up the middle. I'm a guard short, but they had so many. I honestly think this is one of those situations where you just send the crib and you hope to get in quick enough. They had a great play call. Can we make the tackle, though? We do. That play from Carlos Haddad might be the most important one of this game, and it could easily be overlooked by just a casual viewer. We did not get anywhere with that run, though. We're going to hit him with the play action and at least stay in bounds to get a bit. But this game is not over. We do not have Nick Machado to lean on. I don't know who they think is going to stop Tristan Glass, but we'll go underneath and be marked well short. It kind of stinks that we couldn't just end it there, but I will trust our defense one more time. I would much rather that than anything else. They are already going to get like 9. It doesn't really worry me, though, except if we're not going to guard the slant, we're in trouble. I have decided to pass commit inside in a Tampa 2. That could actually really hurt us, but we're just going to whiff the tackle, and you know what? I should have let him get in. If they're going to score a touchdown, then we want as much time to respond. It's official now. We blew the 21-0 lead, but that's not the end of the world. We have 70 seconds to win this ACC championship, and we're starting off with like 8 yards. I don't really love that we're mixing in an RPO here, but it selected it, and I had to take it. Now we're going to see if we can get a little bit of a bigger passing play. We have a wide open Tristan Glass. There's still about 40 seconds left on the clock, and if we get this out quick to our backup tight end, we're good. No one really wanted Stephen Clinton to be out there on the field today, but with Nick Machado missing, that's who we're going to be leaning on in these final seconds, and he can stun on them as we just took a 4-point lead. Now, this one isn't completely over yet. There is still 23 seconds left, and if Florida State gets a touchdown, I'm going to be upset. How did he get free there? Kevin Sperry has just been keeping them in this one, and they have not picked up on the fact that we're literally just sitting back there in cover 3. But he finally did. They complete a pass, and now they're going to be at the 35. If they spike the ball, they're going to have a chance at a Hail Mary. If they don't spike this ball, this is the final play of the game, which is so much better. They don't get it off either. It was a close call, but we have survived and won our first ACC championship. This is so sweet. Who would have thought we'd be here 5 years in? The real question, though, is now going to be, how do we do in the playoffs? I see we just picked up a 4-star signing. That's helpful. But I'm more curious about who the award winners are going to be. We did not have that type of season with our quarterback. We had a split quarterback room, so it makes sense we're not going to be in the running for the Heisman. There is Micah Strickland winning the Bednarik. Then we have John Shakir winning Defensive End of the Year, but I think we know just based off of the award projections that these guys should take home a lot of these. This is now the second year in a row that we have had a three-peat with a defensive back for defensive awards nationally. John Shakir gets the Lombardi as well, and that is it for us, but what surprised me a little bit more is winning the SEC got Auburn the #1 spot over us. I guess they got a little bit more conference prestige. It's a good thing, though, because instead of playing the winner of Ohio State and Michigan, crazy first-round matchup, we're going to get the winner of Washington and Texas A&M. This might actually be the very first time that we win a playoff game. If we compare these two quarterbacks' season stats, Darren Moody wasn't much different from Alexander Bean. They had about the same amount of rushing touchdowns as well, but we know that Bean had more rushing yards. Then there's Austin Jennings getting 1,225 rushing yards with 18 touchdowns. On the receiving front, we can talk about Tristan Glass, but what I really want to focus on is Nick Machado. It shows us here that he's injured, and he's got an abdominal tear, out for 2 weeks, so he's gonna miss the quarterfinals. When we picked up Jordan Yeboah in the transfer portal, I did imagine that he'd get better season stats than this. On the defensive front, our sack leader, we know it's going to be John Shakir. Behind him was senior Cole Cogshell. A lot of these players are seniors besides Frank Gee, and even Frank Gee might declare for the NFL draft early. Micah Strickland, with his 10 interceptions, though, was easily the team leader. Statistically, as a team, our offense might have been good enough to crack the top 25, but we focus more in on defense here. We gave up the third least amount of points per game. I also would imagine that some of our coordinators are going to take better jobs elsewhere, so I'm prepared to hire on other guys. For early National Signing Day, I'm able to check some of these dev traits. Terrence Kane, the free safety, has elite development, so that's the type of stuff that we really want to see. For the rest of these guys, though, they're basically all sitting at impact or normal, besides the 2 5-stars that we picked up on defense. Honestly, as long as they have impact, they'll develop just fine. We're only going to lose 2 players to the transfer portal because we knew John Shakir was declaring for the draft, and we have gotten Washington in the quarterfinals instead of Texas A&M. It's kind of crazy that this is the third time we've made it to the playoffs, but this is the first time where I feel like we have a real shot. And it is about time that we find out whether or not we can take home the Orange Bowl. If there was ever going to be a time I squeezed back into this Vice jersey, this would be it. And that's because we're trying to take home that Orange Bowl trophy, where I don't understand why our coaches just randomly reappear out of nowhere on all the intros. I'm sitting here in my game ready jersey, prepared to go into the field if I need to. The guys on our team better just hope that they're the ones actually making plays to put us in a good spot. This is the first time that headed into a playoff game I've actually felt a little bit confident. Alexander Bean doesn't get much, but we'll see what we have on 3rd and 4. It looks like our slant should be there. That was not ideal, though, to already be in a position where we really needed to pick up that first down. And I keep on seeing if they're going to give us the look that I'm hoping for. I just wanted to test it once. That might not have been the brightest move. We're going to go with the stretch on 2nd down. But they ate that up as well, so we're going to hit them with play action. We're going to have to playmaker a little bit to get over those zones. And thankfully, we find Tristan Glass. Now we're going to go for another handoff. But I swear, they have messed up something with the blocking, because it's been like this almost the entire day where our players are getting in the way of our runs. It is going to make it a 3rd and 13 where I'm not sure a halfback angle route gets us enough, but Austin Jennings has it. All we should have to do from here is just let him go to work. He currently has 5 rushes for 0 yards on the day, so it's not been the greatest start of all time. But apparently that was not enough for a touchdown. We didn't fall in, so we're going to do it here. Stress levels are definitely through the roof. We're going to be able to bait them into taking the shorter throw. That's better than them getting a 25-yard gain, but I want to see our pass rush there This guy's a boulder. Julian McMahon might be tough to stop on the ground, which is why I'm glad that they just threw it at us. Does it matter though? No, it hit us straight in the hands, and it's about to be 3rd and 3. You best believe I beam a ball like that at the computer though. They're catching it every time. They are trying to hold us back here, and honestly, I don't think we made that tackle quick enough. It was a close call, but they were able to get just enough. And I have our defense set up so they can't just pass against us like that, though they're about to break a tackle. All right, 3rd down. I'm not even going to pass commit. I'm actually just going to try and commit to stopping the inside pass. But we left a corner route so open there. We have clearly been in Tampa 2 for too long of the game. We have to switch it up at some point, and we did. I'd have blitz dialed up there. They're going to keep it with an option, and they're going to be at the 5. Odds are, even if we pinch our line, they're probably going to get in here. But not yet. We might just need to sell out and try to stop the run. I ran commit and everything, but we could have also come out in a better formation for it. Oh, that was such a great block. It's not going to get its credit because we did not get to the 2nd level in time, but we honestly should have been able to. This isn't going to be a laser. And on 3rd and 7, I figured that they were going to drop into a cover 3, so we were prepared to hit it. If we had this play set up as an RPO, we would be able to absolutely gash them here. We almost still did. On 2nd and inches, we're going to run it again. And this time, Austin Jennings gets another 7. It's definitely going to be hard for defenses to get stops in this game. We were going to see if we could stretch the field with 4 verticals. I wasn't the biggest fan of what I was seeing, though. We're going to hit our RPO in the flat because this has been one of our best plays all year. And it is time for bubble Y pop. Are their linebackers going to stick on our tight end? I don't think so. Stephen Clinton gets in the end zone, and that's how we respond. It's back on Washington now to be able to have that same type of success against us. And let's see, what are they going to do on 2nd and 14? They're going to hit their slant, which I could barely see. These Hard Rock Stadium shadows are genuinely some of my least favorite in this game. I just think it's hard to see everyone on the field. I get they're realistic and all, but I just find them a bit obnoxious. We're going to see if we can go for a lot. Maybe it wasn't meant to be there, but if this is cover 2 and we get a great throw to the outside, we could be gone for a touchdown. We jumped up, grabbed it with Yeboah, and Yeboah runs like he's got... I don't want to say it. He's definitely got a funny running style, though. We'll take the touchdown from him. We are now in control of this game, especially since they get the ball first to start the 2nd half. It's about to be 3rd and 3. And I feel like we got to press and pass commit here, or else they're just going to go to something underneath. But he scrambled again. You know what, though? We're going to run some cover 2 man and see if he actually tests us. They did, but we can't catch it. That actually might be the best defense that we can run in this game. Whenever we sit in it, it seems like the computer throws some pretty dumb stuff against us. I will admit I'm a little bit terrified for this 3rd and 1, but we're going to stop them. We're also going to have an opportunity to end this first half with another touchdown. Even a field goal would be cool, but it's Jordan Yeboah. And Jordan Yeboah gets his 2nd big play. He is on 1 today. Honestly, this might seem like a crazy throw, and he still catches it. It doesn't matter. This kid has been incredible. He is clutching up. Where were you at when Jordan Yeboah decided he was going to single-handedly carry FIU to the semis? It's one of those types of moments. I mean, he could not be playing any better. And this might be a little bit crazy, but I called a timeout after that sack because I think we could get it back again before the end of the first half. I was not expecting a throw like that, though, out of the Washington quarterback. Instead, they're going to get points. All of it was completely avoidable, though. It is my fault that they have that chance. Did he just do a 360 out of a sack? I should have learned this lesson against Florida State last week. Even if you get that 21-point lead, you can never get too cocky. They are chewing off so much clock here, though. This could actually end up being the final play of the first half. If it takes them all the time, as long as he doesn't get in, we're good. They're not going to be able to spike this ball in time, so Washington gets nothing out of that. We're going to be up 28-7, and I'm still feeling like we're getting in the semis. Obviously, it's not happened yet. We still need to find out how are we going to get them off of the field to start this 3rd quarter. But that is a lot of disrespect to be testing Micah Strickland like that, and we're just going to try and knock him out. We know what's coming. We've been in these positions before. We stopped them. And this entire 2nd half is most likely just going to be them doing crazy stuff, trying to keep this game competitive. Here on 3rd and 15, though, we're going to protect the sticks. If they want to get a field goal out of this drive, they can take that. All we have to do is wrap up. And it didn't take them that long to get an extra few points, but it's not even guaranteed that went in. There's still a good amount of time left in this one to where passing it like this might not be my smartest move, but I got tempted. They were teasing us. They were trying to act like they could press some of our best receivers, and to be honest, they kind of did. Whether I got that last pass off or not, it was not open. Alexander Bean shouldn't have kept it. I tried to give him an opportunity to get a big play again, and we had an open tight end. I was just really feeling Jordan. In hindsight, pretty stupid to do that, but we can still get this 3rd and 14. And we just got to continue to work on closing this one out. Stat lines don't matter that much. As fun as it would be for Jordan Yeboah to catch another crazy touchdown, that's not going to win us this game. We're passing to the 7 now. And I told you all, it is worth believing in Darren Moody, as he's gotten himself like 325 yards and 4 or 5 tutties. Now, Washington did score kind of quick, but once getting it back, we've just continued to work on running through clock. And I really just feel like none of this has mattered too much, because either way, we are gonna win. I don't know what it would take to blow it from this moment, but we're not capable of that. Even Washington decided this one was over and was gonna let us run out the rest of the clock until an injury timeout, so we might as well try to score. But we couldn't get an accurate pass there, and I just had to do it. Jordan Yeboah gets another. We definitely put on a show versus Washington. We are moving on to the semifinals. And our trophy collection just got a little bit bigger. By now, it's pretty clear to me that Darren Moody is going to declare for the NFL draft at the end of next season. I mean, he just went for 5 touchdowns, 355 yards in a playoff game. And I was really not expecting Tristan Glass to take all of the FIU career receiving records. I have a feeling part of it has to do with the fact that it is counting his stats over at Coastal Carolina too. And it is. He only has had like 2,700 receiving yards here. It's the same reason he has the touchdowns record and also the receptions record too for career stats at FIU. It looks like in the next round of the playoffs, we're going to have to play the Oregon Ducks. That's going to be a difficult one. We also lost our offensive coordinator, so we're going to have to look through who's available. And I'm seeing a lot of like level 15s besides Boston College's head coach. He is a full-on recruiter. He's an elite recruiter as well, which could be useful to us. I think we might as well go after him. He fits our offensive scheme and our defensive one. Even though we went 0-12, we'll give him a shot. As for the other half of the bracket, it's between Auburn and Georgia, so 2 SEC schools. And between the Ducks and us, we both average 35 points per game, so this is a pretty even matchup, though they are a little bit better on paper. I don't care about what it says on paper, though. All that matters is how we're about to perform on the field. For their first snap, I'm already preparing to bait them out. We're ready to get down to their running back, even if he's going to break the first tackle. That does not worry me in the slightest. Look at 60 on their offensive line. You can't tell me that that guy doesn't look super small, though they got pretty solid run blocking still. I mean, there is just no way that that's an actual offensive lineman. There can't be. I guess it is, though. It says he weighs 292 pounds. I feel like he just got a really weirdly generated character build, unless it's just him being down in that position and I've never noticed it. Either way, 3rd and 2, our chance to get Oregon off of the field. We could not pull that off, but if they try and beat us over the seam, I went too low. They have a touchdown. We just got scored on by number 49, by the way. I am not exactly loving how this game has opened up. RPO isn't getting much. Tristan Glass is also tired from last week, which really stinks. But let's see what we can pull out on 3rd and 7. They were ready. Now, coach suggestions had me going for this. I would have punted the ball if they said to punt it. They think we should attempt to pick this up, and we're going to pick it up as Tristan Glass doesn't just get the drag. He gets all the way out of there for a touchdown. What a great idea to be aggressive in that situation. You're not going far, buddy. We are so locked in after that moment. Little jet touch pass. We can get out to stop that. Easy tackle for Ty Cordova. I am backing up these outside corners on 3rd and 11, though. I just don't want to give up anything deep. They have multiple hitch routes open over there. And this defense has actually interested me because it's man on one side, it's zone on the other. We're going to test it a few times and see how it does. Normally, if I wanted to set something up like this, I would have to go ham whenever it comes to manning players up and such. But cover 6 Willie might be the move. On 3rd and 18, we got in. That's the first stop that we were looking for. Now we're going to see if we can go straight up the middle. It all fell apart before we could, and Nick Machado is supposed to be back from injury, but he's not out there. It's a little bit annoying, but I think I have to go ahead and, yeah, just sub him in. It's been that way in like any game I've ever played. I just wish that it would go to how I originally set the depth chart when players get back from injury. It only really stinks, though, if I'm filming like a one-off rebuild and I'm simming a lot of games and I don't get who I want out there. All because they got dinged up in one of the games early on in the year. But that's about the only time I've really noticed it. We're going to go for the corner route and get picked off. I was kind of just forcing it there, which was actually really dumb looking back on it. They got a lot of yards out of it. That was not the best showing there, and Ty Cordova got burnt. We're out of this defense. That last offensive drive out of us was truthfully just horrendous, but we're out there to make a tackle. He can break it as long as we are able to push him out of bounds at the end of the day anyway. Micah Strickland with the interception, and this kid's got 97 speed. Do you think that they're going to be able to catch him? No, he's just making them look silly. Touchdown FIU. We're back in front by 7 points. This team is more than just a team that I wanted to potentially compete for an ACC championship. This is a championship caliber roster, and they're probably going to try and go to our check down, or they're just going to make us look ridiculous. Yep, go ahead. Tie it back up at 14. We knew this was coming. It's going to be very hard to win it all. But that pick six did do a lot for us. And there they are to stop the run. On 2nd and 9, I might look to split cover 2 if it's cover 2 man. Then we're going to have to go over to Nick Machado. He dropped that one straight out of his hands. And on 3rd down, they swat it. I think our biggest issue, last 2 times we've gotten stopped, and now that I think about it, it's a really big issue, is we didn't run RPOs. We tried to pass it deep twice in a row. We just went away from the run after we had one play that didn't work out. Next time that happens, we got to continue to run. We just need the option to pass as well. And I don't think it's the end of the world. We've already gotten them to a 3rd and 14, so we should be able to get this ball back here. We're going to watch underneath. And we're swatting it. We're swatting it. Lesson learned right there. I'm not getting mossed any longer. We just got to swat that. You go for that pick. They probably catch it, get a touchdown, and all of a sudden, we're down by more. So first play of this drive, it's just going to be another run. It's our first good one of the day. And I think we get ball to start the second half. So if this is the final drive of the first half, that would honestly be perfect. After losing yards there, though, I do want the option to throw the ball on 2nd and 14. It wasn't open. And this is where we can then go for our deep passing play. They're most likely going to be sitting there in cover 3. Unfortunately, though, he was able to play everything there. Our flat and the route that was open for a first down. I should have just never thrown it. That really just lets me know I'm not going to want to test his side of the field much during this game. That's really just his side of the field. He had it on lock, but do you know what I have on lock? We have that play on lock. Micah Strickland does it again, and at this rate, he could still get the interceptions record for FIU because I think he's up to 12 or 13. I don't remember how many Dakota Fields had, but they are very close to each other. We are going to stay away from the run on this next one, though. I thought a halfback screen could be fun to mix in. It almost got us the first down. And I think it's time for the Alexander Bean play. We could literally just run this straight and get quite a bit. As long as his package is out there, we might as well let him hand it off another time too. That didn't really pan out that well for us though, and we're just going to have to be patient. Justin Devon gets open with the drag. To be honest, that probably should have been guarded by them. We'll see if we can actually split them over the top. That was worth just trying to send. We're going to sit here in the pocket, complete an easy first down pass, and honestly just try to break the trend where I will throw an interception against a good team to end the first half about every single time. We have already thrown 2. We do not have room for any more in this game. If I hit this route a little bit quicker, it might have been better, but we still got the touchdown. That's how you end a first half right there. They're just going to hand it off and take it to the half too. So far, I would say that even though we've had turnovers that were completely avoidable, I feel like things are setting up pretty well for us. We forced 2 on them as well. We have a 7-point lead. We have the ball, and we're not going to get more than a yard. That's really sad because I think if we had some better blocking there, we probably could have. And this is a big 3rd and 2. I'm actually just going to hold off on calling it for a second. We're going to let our blocking set in, which didn't give us the best blocking in the world. I still don't know whether or not that's a thing, but unfortunately, we've been held to a 3 now to start this second half. Oregon's going to have a chance to tie things back up at 21. I don't know how long I can keep us in this just based off of defensive stops. We've already gotten 2 interceptions with Strickland, though they keep on trying to run. I told you, if there was one thing about John Shakir, he's going to help us stop it pretty well. And the reason our defense looked like that was I accidentally ran commit whenever I was trying to guard the inside routes, but it's okay. We ended up being able to cover most of that with a user. They have a second guy on our drag route, though. I think it's time we see if Austin Jennings can do anything with the stretch here. He didn't get as far as I was hoping. So that makes it 3rd and 8, but he should be able to catch this and just run for a first down against them. The idea behind a play like that is just spreading them out and seeing what type of look they're going to give us. We have the drag to Jordan Yaboa on the next play, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better. We have made it to field goal range, whether we get a touchdown or not. I really can't believe this has turned into a season where we could end up winning it all but it has. We're at the 15. On our next run, we weren't really able to get much, so that's why I wanted to mix in this play. Just getting us a bit closer to the marker, and I feel like they're going to have the defense over there to stop our RPO. This is where I really struggle to hit this kick, though, because if we put it over to the side like this, you would think that'd be far enough, except then it actually goes that far. If I aim it to where it wouldn't go that far to the side, then we're just going to miss it to the other side of the upright. I swear. I just can't hit close field goals from a hash mark. We should really have a 10-point lead right now. At least they're not going to get anything here. We have already forced them to a 3rd and 11, and this is where we shine with Strickland. We're going to isolate who they need to throw to, and that's fine with me. Defensive battles are typically the games that we win. It's the offensive shootouts that we end up having our issues with. That's a crazy spin, by the way. At some point, he will be able to go the distance, and we've run the same RPO a couple times now. That honestly might be my new red zone play, just because of how solid it is. Austin Jennings is down to like -7 speed, though, due to wear and tear, and we're going for the difficult throw because Justin Devon is in the end zone. I'm pretty sure he's been with us the entire time I've been at FIU, one of my first recruits ever. And there were times where he wanted to transfer, but he didn't. We convinced him to stay. Now it's all actually working out for him. We are a quarter away from being in the National Championship Game, and he just placed that over 3 different defenders. I can't give the senior quarterback much credit. He's had a lot of rough moments in this game, but we stop him in the backfield, and I'm just going to have to accept that if he throws another one perfectly over some of our zones, that's just the type of player he is. He is inconsistent. When he's hot, he's hard to stop, but he's not been hot most of the day. And I started switching up the coverage for the first time in a long time right there. It seems to pay off. In fact, on 3rd and 5, I kind of just want to get aggressive here and send in a blitz. Didn't pay out. That's what I get for getting out of my stock cover too, though. With our hard flats, that's been our best performing defense all year. Can you imagine if we got a goal line hold here, by the way? We don't. It was just beginning to feel like a possibility. There's only 3 minutes left on the clock, which is great news for us. Even if Austin Jennings is pretty tired, he's down his -7 speed. We need him at this moment. Of course, that's when he gets hit with an injury timeout, so it stops the clock, and he's not going to be out there on the field, but Justin Devon gets it again. He has actually been so clutch for us in this game. Emmett Bickley is nowhere to go. And you know what? This is where we pull out Alexander Bean. We're going to let him go into his quarterback draw and just see how far he can get. If there's one person I want the ball in the hands of with the game on the line, it's the guy with 94 speed, not the guy with 89. And I think that's enough. That should basically do it. Oregon is out of timeouts. All they have left to rely on is the 2-minute warning. If we keep things centered down the middle and just kick our field goal, there's going to be absolutely nothing the Ducks can do. They are also only going to have like 30 seconds left, so I think we're good to say we're moving on to the national championship. As we've burned through about as much time as we could on this drive, this kick right here seals our spot in the Natty, and it's going to go in. Oregon can't come back down 10. I cannot believe we've now won both the Orange Bowl and the Rose Bowl, but FIU is finally making a storm in the playoffs. It feels good to not be a first-round exit. We are literally just 1 game away from winning it all. I also don't even think I mentioned it in this series, but like besides having the manual progression slider a little bit higher or having the transfer one set this way so we could lose up to 30 players a year, to make it as difficult as I thought would feel more realistic, I put the gameplay sliders in Season 4 up a little bit for the computer skill, just so they'd play better. I wanted them to run the ball better than they were. So those are just some of the things I was trying to do to keep it as challenging as I could. I never expected myself to be someone that could win like this on Heisman. We got our new offensive coordinator, and this team might actually just be that sick. I mean, if I were to have a roster like this in a rebuild, I would expect to be competing for a championship. With our 20 coach points left, we are going to make sure our offensive line is as good as possible for this game. I would also enjoy it if our quarterback had a little bit more throw on the run. And both us and the Tigers are our conference champions headed into this game at 14-1. I'm looking over everything. Caleb Jennings is unfortunately going to miss this championship because he has an injury still. As a true freshman, he was out there on the field until he got hurt. I think he ended up playing in, he played in 7 games, so we're not going to be able to redshirt him. But there is one final thing I want to point out before we get into the national championship game. I was just doing some roster scouting. Their running back has 94 speed, and there is another Newton at Auburn. This time, it's Jershawn Newton. He has a shifty ability, a sidestep ability. He also has a 99 throw on the run. So I don't know what offense the Tigers are about to throw at us, but I will admit I'm a little bit nervous. I do feel like it's only right that we go into this game with our Vice jerseys. We got it on right here. We want to be able to rep these as we celebrate our first national championship. Is it going to happen here? Maybe not. but I am hoping for the best. It's going to be played at Hard Rock Stadium, so this is right down the road from FIU. It's not going to show up in the crowd, but we do have a little bit of a home field advantage here. And it looks like we're not going to have the annoying sunlight. The shadows aren't going to be showing up. Auburn rushes 40% of the time. That's a lot of yards per game. But we'll see what their offense actually is like. RPO first play. Don't do it to him. Don't do it to him. Micah Strickland stunting on him. First play of the game. Touchdown for Micah Strickland. He is the greatest defensive back in FIU history. I'll say it. It doesn't get any better than this. They're going to fake us out, but we get the sack. John Shakir making plays already. And I really hope that a pass commit can allow us to play this RPO here. It's not an RPO, though, which means we're just going to give up a huge play. If they're going to spread us out like this, then I'm not quite sure if we're going to be able to stop them that much. I mean, we know their running back's fast. We can't let Emmanuel Brady get going downhill, but they're staying in hurry-up mode, and that's going to cause our defense to have some problems, too. I think all we can do is just man up that side of the field and really watch for this side of the field on 3rd and 2. We're going to be playing it with small. And I don't see anything besides the flat. We can get out there, make our tackle. I bet they punt it to us. No, they don't. They are going to come out and wildcat instead. So we are going to run commit, and we are just going to pray that they don't break off a massive run here. They don't. That was a great defensive play call. Good start for FIU. We are literally just outplaying the Tigers so far, and they're ready to stop the run. They should be, though. Austin Jennings definitely on the scouting report. I'm not sure we even need a massive game from him, but we just have to be able to keep them honest. You'll see Alexander Bean is already out there on the field. I don't even know if I want to punt it back to them here. I think we're going to, just because our defense has already been on fire. But we should have hit that hole just in stride. It is so hard to not get clipped up in that position. We almost had him twice. Micah Strickland was half a second away from making it 14-0. Instead, they just got us all to bite. And this guy might not be as big as Cam Newton. He might not be as hard to stop as Cam Newton, but I can tell you, I am not having fun trying to get them off of the field. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to throw the ball a lot. Maybe we should have just gone for it on that 4th and 5. Because just like that, Auburn ties it up at 7, and they're there to stop Austin. So far, I'd say they're doing a really good job whenever it comes to stopping the run, but we hit them with an RPO. They weren't as ready for that one, and we're going to get this out quickly to Nick Machado. The last time we had Alexander Bean out there on a 3rd down to take off, it didn't work out for us, but I will trust him again, because that's what should happen. I also don't mind him staying out there for one more play, probably to where they think we're about to run the football, but instead, we hit them with this halfback screen. This formation, honestly, has so many fun plays in it. We're going to break to the outside, and we can't go all the way. But I will take this for the first quarter in the national championship. To open it up, Darren Moody gets back out there, and we are going to find Nick Machado, or Stephen Clinton, one of the 2 tight ends. Now we're going to run it right into them. I am definitely not doing as good of a job at hitting the hole in this game. I think it's coming from the nerves of just playing in the natty. But I feel like we should be able to get into the end zone here with some slants, especially since we actually had them. Now we're just going to hand it off and get to the 3. We really cannot go RPO in this situation. We're just going to have to sit back and make a read, which we had. You know what? I'm not kicking from here either. I'm not going to take that chance at missing. We're just going to wait. We're going to hit our drag. And if we hang on to it, we get our 7 points. We're back up. If we're actually taking home a national championship, we're going to have to take some risks. We're going to have to play aggressive. Here we go. 2nd down. They hand it off. We're all over it. The big play, though, is this 3rd down. We're actually going to switch over to a cover 3. And I'm stuck on the defensive line, which is not good because they can just split the seams and go to the 30. I knew that this offense was just not going to be fun to stop, but we make the play with Galladay, the 1 junior on this defense. And I'm going for the shot early on in this game. They're not even giving us the look for it, but I don't care. We're going to see if we can get him. We got him to bite. We got him to bite. Just run under this ball. What a throw from Darren Moody. What a snag from Jordan Yaboa. And we're blasting off to the 2. It is coming. It is coming. Can you feel it? A national championship is coming to the Panthers. We're up 21-7. Go ahead and fail to dunk it. I have been locked in for 2 weeks trying to take this team to glory. Give us the pick. I should have gone for the swat. It's okay, though. They're going to hit play action. No, they hit a read option on us. Nice little juke, too. You can kind of see what type of offense would just be gashing our defense if somebody was able to run it. But no one's really done that right. We just gave them a huge hole to hit and boosted them forward 5 yards. This is the most important play, though. 3rd down. where they don't get enough. There was also an injury timeout for their quarterback. I'm going to call a timeout here. We know that they're going to run this ball. We're going to be so much more aggressive than we were about to be, but we're still not going to stop it. That is just enough time for Newton to get back out there on the field as well. We have now hit the 2-minute warning in the National Championship, and that was a good play. I was trying to bait them on the RPO. He just went to a different spot than I thought. Honestly, I have already decided that we're going to choose some clock just because I know that Auburn is going to want an opportunity to get this ball back before the end of the half. That throw could have also gone extremely south for us, but now we got Tristan Glass just getting right off of the edge. That has got to be one of my favorite routes in this game, because if they're not playing the outside, then you're able to get a huge gain. We got nothing with that run, though. We're going to see if we can get anything with this halfback screen. 49 is chasing us down. And honestly, what I don't want to do is get in a position where we throw an interception just because we're going for a touchdown. I would rather us take our 3, go up by 2 possessions, and we just got to lock in for this, except I think we missed it. It's not going to go in. I genuinely felt like I used to be so good at field goals. We have not been this season, though. On 2nd and 10, they're still going for passes. They're not going to run it, but they're going to throw it over to Hayer, and Hayer makes a play. We can't get around. That actually really hurts us. If we could have just held that block for a little longer, we would have basically guaranteed field goal range. Now we're trying to get this one out underneath. Austin Jennings is going to have to go down inbounds here. We let time run down. We called a timeout, and we could not hit a 47-yarder, but can Wade Shaw bounce back? Hit this 49-yarder for us. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. That is 6 blown points at the end of this first half. We just needed one of those. I know we're still playing well, but I will have those in the back of my mind the rest of this game. Break off a tackle, we'll take 6. This really just needs to be one of those run-heavy, RPO-heavy drives where we get it out to our tight end. I guess no one wants to block for him. They forced the fumble. This stuff always happens. Of course they're going to get back in this game. Of course they're about to score a touchdown and tie things up at 21. I was trying so hard to handle it the right way. I handled it the right way. Micah Strickland does it again. There is not a kid I would rather have on this team ever. What a player. I can't believe we have forced this many interceptions against Auburn in the national championship. Austin Jennings has rushed like 17 times for 35 yards, though, in this game. So it's not like we're doing anything wrong there. My play calling, trying to get rushes going on the running side, has been completely fine. We just haven't been able to have any success with it. So we're going to the air, and it worked out. I'm going to try to mix in a bubble just in case that gets us a bigger gain. Seems like our blocks are going to work out pretty well there. But I really do think that it might just be better for us to go through the air in this one, and I don't think anyone else is getting over there. If we find ourselves in something like a 2nd and inches, then this is a perfect spot to give Austin Jennings the work. It just has to be noted that there's an injury timeout for him. He will most likely be missing the rest of this game. And we'll take it to Nick Machado as he goes for 12. After all that he has done for us, by the way, I want to give Alexander Bean a chance to score a touchdown in the national championship game. He is able to find his way through, and I still think we should be ahead by a lot more, but I will take this lead. It really is going to be possible for us to take this one home, though this could be a massive play for them. Can we please just wrap up? If there is one thing that we cannot do, it's let Auburn get back into this game really fast, which they're doing. It is almost worth a timeout just to slow them down, but we'll see. Are we going to be able to stop this run? Not very well. I really just don't know what the fourth quarter is going to hold for this game, which is why I don't want to call a timeout. We're more prepared for the run here, but they still got enough. We just don't have the personnel out there on the field to stop these runs, especially when they got fast players like their quarterback. But I have a solution. Basically, just run commit. I was ready for the read option. And guess what? After doing that once, we're going to do that again. We've brought everybody down, and that time they did keep it, but we have someone right there. The biggest play of this national championship game is going to come at the start of the fourth quarter. Up to this point, you'd say it's pretty even outside of turnovers. But this is what makes the difference. They hand it off, and yeah, he was wide open. Unfortunately, the play that I was hoping to run there didn't end up working out. I accidentally called cover 2 men instead of cover 2 zone, so I couldn't really set up the defense the way that I wanted. But look who's back out there on the field. Austin Jennings is not done in this game. I mean, that play didn't necessarily look great, but we're going to get out the drag route to Tristan Glass. He throws one tackle off of him, and I have thought long and hard about this play call. Probably my best play call in this entire game. We know all the reads that we have out there on the field, but it's going to be 4th and 2, so you know who this comes down to. Can we hit this field goal? No, we're not going to hit this field goal. We're not even going to come close for a third attempt. This is like the most embarrassed I've ever been while kicking those. It's one thing to miss like one, maybe I missed 2 in a game. But 3 of them, all which could have a huge impact, I just can't let that slide. You know that we're swatting this down. Great decision. Stress levels are through the roof, but Auburn has decided that they're going to trust their defense. They saw Austin Jennings was a little bit tired, that we probably aren't going to have him. And I think that's an interesting decision, but it might be the right one. They were ready for the RPO there. We're going to get this one out, even though I know he's not that open. It'll just keep the clock running a little bit, but you know my read here. He isn't necessarily going to be open, and we're going to run. We're going to run and dive for it. Now, this is one of those decisions that gets a coach fired. I don't love it. But I said if we're going to win a national championship, we're going to be aggressive. Picking this up here would be a huge deal. I kind of want to go for it. So we're going to go for it. We're going to go for it, and we're going to get enough. I've sat here. I've thought about it. We've been through 5 seasons. What is most likely going to happen if we punt it back to them? They're going to score a touchdown. It looks like they're probably even still going to get that opportunity, but at least now they're not going to have any timeouts. This is a very big 3rd and 4. I'm afraid that if I quickly throw that to Jennings, we might not have him, but he's open. He's open, and that's going to do it. That is going to do it. It is paid off in the end that we were aggressive. We didn't give them a chance to score on us. We're taking a knee, and FIU has done it. We have taken home the national championship. This is hopefully one of many to come. This is not going to be the finale. I got to put out at least another episode. For all we know, maybe we even get a couple seasons going. I'm going to have fun with this. I'm also happy to say Dakota Fields passed the torch to Micah Strickland. He has now taken over his record for single season interceptions at FIU. And I cannot believe that we seriously just pulled that off. We've done it in 5 years. Our name over Auburn is in the history books forever. If you compare our coach stats to everyone else's career winning percentage, we are up there in the top 7. But here's the thing. Coming off of a national championship, how many of these players are going to leave to other schools chasing a bigger bag? How many of these players are going to declare for the NFL draft? There's no telling. The hardest part we're going to face is trying to win back-to-back championships. That's just going to be hard to overcome. We have multiple quarterbacks that want to transfer out due to playing time, which is understandable. You just cannot stack quarterbacks on this game. And I don't think we're going to convince anybody to return. On the senior side of things, Stephen Clinton, he is now gone. Terrence Hayer, our best cornerback, he is now gone. Dijon Lee Jr. is going to be gone as well. Then we're saying goodbye to Micah Strickland and Kevin Otis, 2 other huge defensive players for us. Who else are we saying goodbye to? Jackson Small. Jaden Woods, another name that you all would have had to recognize by now. Justin Devon. Alexander Bean, one of our best tackles. I mean, it just keeps on going. Then we know how this is going to work out. Austin Jennings, he has no chance at being persuaded. I don't know if there's even a 1% chance you can get lucky on these, but we did not get lucky. Kevin Robbins, former 4-star quarterback, he wants to leave because of playing time. And Jalen Rainbow is also gone. What does that leave us with? Well, when you have this many players that are NFL talent that have gone on to the pros, there's a lot of holes that we're going to have to fill. And do you know how great the transfer portal is looking for us at the moment? We could be getting Roland Witten. I don't know why he would come here since he's not going to start, but he might want to sit a year and then start after that. But even if it looks like we have a ton of 4-star transfers on our board that we could have a great chance at getting, there's no guarantees that we actually pull away with any of these battles. We'll see how it ends up playing out. This is the first 5-star transfer, by the way, I have ever seen. If there's anything to point out, though, just the fact our program tradition, still not that far up there. Our stadium atmosphere has stayed at an F, despite just winning it all. And our athletic facilities aren't going up either. I just think some of that stuff needs to be tuned a little bit better. After a week, we're just behind Michigan on the 5-star. I'm hoping we pull away on that tight end from Louisville. I'm just checking out all these battles that we should be able to close out. And basically, for every single one of these guys, I've just had to guess their hard sell. If we don't do that, then we're not going to be able to pull away on any of these battles. But even if I'm correct, we might not win. We're trying to put together our greatest class of all time. I think this 5-star edge is going to be gone to Michigan, though. We have the little edge on that tight end. We're still going to get that tackle, and we might even get Max Easter. We'll also get Micah as a walk-on, despite him not having many guarantees of playing time. But what we want to see is what hard sells did we end up guessing correctly? That is now 3 in a row. We missed on Sammy, so we're probably not winning him. But I did my best to make some recovery on some of those players, so we'll see how that ends up turning out. We're getting some more commits before we even get to that final week. I mean, I don't think I've put together a better recruiting class on College Football 25. Michigan did get that 5-star edge officially, though. We got that tight end over Louisville on lock. Whenever it comes to 5-star quarterback, Roland Witten, we really need to beat out Florida State, or else we're going to have to face this kid next year, and he's just going to run it up in the ACC. And then when it comes to Sammy, we guessed his hard sell wrong. I don't think we're going to overcome that the final week. It looks like playing time is an issue for Daryl Pace. That is something that's actually come up as we get more commits. Like, playing time is going to make it so this 4-star left tackle won't even consider us. Same for Colin. That came out of absolute nowhere. It is what it is. We got a 3-star quarterback, so that's going to probably be our backup at the moment, unless we can get the 5-star number 1 player in the country, which I don't think we ended up doing. I've been clicking through these commits for a while, and he never popped up. As we have gotten to National Signing Day, I am afraid to scroll down here. It is going to look like Florida State gets Roland Witten from us. Notre Dame was able to get this edge, and then Miami is going to take another cornerback. They've taken basically all of our corners. Alabama gets that receiver, but we still made 30 signings. A lot of these guys, I don't think you're going to really see much of. They're just going to be on the line, and they're not going to be doing much out there on the field for us. Though, cornerback-wise, Eli Crumpler with his elite development, that is a massive signing. Another guy with elite development, star dev on Micah at running back. I'm pretty sure he was a high schooler, though. Everyone else above him should be as well. But look at that. We signed a top 5 class in the country, and I think we have been able to fill our need at the cornerback position. Both John Umenyora and Eli Crumper are our highest 2 overall players before we get to training results. Our quarterback room is definitely looking extremely sad, but we ended up signing this kid just so we'd have another option there. He's a 66. And honestly, I might take Paul Cahill and move him over to running back. It looks like he would go up to an 86 overall. He already has 94 speed, 94 excel. This could be a great position change for us. We signed Daryl Pace during the transfer portal period. He's an 87 overall receiver, so he's going to probably be one of our main focuses alongside Paul Bush. That was one of the only big movements that I really did during that period, but then it came time for player progression, and I have to think about what I want to do with Darren Moody. See, we can't really do that much with him at the moment unless we start increasing his accuracies. We only have 50 skill caps to spend, though, and I don't want him to graduate after next year. The problem is, though, no matter what, he is going to graduate after next year because he's a 90 overall. So we're going to max out his accuracy. We're going to see how high we can get mobile resistance. I didn't run that much with him, so maybe we leave it there. And then honestly, we might as well just improve his quickness because that's going to help us a little bit. Elusiveness can as well, and that's that. It wasn't really anything crazy. Behind him, Deshaun Creed, we have legitimately only focused on his accuracy, so we have a solid backup if he happens to go down again. But this is the player that we care about. Paul Cahill, former receiver, now he's a running back. First thing I have to do is just change his number. He can rock number 0, actually. But outside of that, I had to decide what is worth spending points on. And honestly, I think getting Shifty is really worth it. We have 17 left. We could improve his quickness or elusiveness. What all of this really lets me know, though, is getting a gadget receiver, if they're good, and moving them over to running back is a great play. Not only is he going to be effective running, but he's going to have good catching stats and good route running stats. Outside of the massive jump that we're about to see on Paul Bush, to the point where I think he's literally going to leave after this next season because he is now a 90 overall, I feel like there's not been that many other huge jumps. I guess it all really just depends on where I want to spend points. Like, we got a 6'4", 4-star contested specialist with George. We could get him up to 95 speed, but then I spent heavy on route running. I spent very heavy on catching, which got him up to an 85 overall, and that's some of the biggest changes that we're going to see in this offseason. Nick Machado only got up to an 81. After sitting here for another 30, 45 minutes doing the rest of them, Eli Crumpler was the biggest jump on the defensive side of the ball. He has 99 speed with some very solid zone coverage. He's going to be our best cornerback. And I am stuck on this encourage roster screen just because I want to throw something out there before I start filming episode 6. You can see some of our best players at the moment. But what I want to talk about is customizing conferences. Because what if FIU, after winning this national championship, has realized maybe they're too good for the ACC? What if they got an invite over to the SEC? I kind of want to put them in there for our last season or two. I don't know. Just let me know what you all think in the comments. What is the best way to close out this series? Because I've had a blast with it. I obviously was not expecting to already win a championship in season 5, but we have a fun team that we can at least run it back with for another year.